Yo, let's get it popping, man. Let's get it popping, man. This is kind of like a this is kind of like a test stream to see if I'm gonna get some people to come in. If YouTube is sending out my notifications, I don't know what's going on. I might gotta contact YouTube. So I'm gonna give it a few minutes to see if people join. What's up, everybody, man? Because I had another live on there. I didn't get no notifications because usually I get the notifications myself. So I'm just trying to test this out to see what's going on with you guys and see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. What's up, everybody? Let me see if the people come in because nobody came in the last one. I'm like, I might as well end it. If people come in, I talk about microchipping to see if it's worth it. But I'm really testing out YouTube right now. It looks like this one is a little different. So people are starting to come in on this one. Okay, so this one might be cool, y'all. We might can talk about microchipping your dogs. Let's see. Let's see if people come in. We're going to give it 5 minutes before we get started. Hopefully you guys have a hopefully you ladies and gentlemen had a beautiful Thursday. What's the day? May the 14th, 2026. Right now it's like 9-something p.m., 9:19 on the East Coast. And we just testing out the notifications to see if YouTube will send them out. YouTube will send these things out because if YouTube doesn't send out the notifications, then I can just do the video and just upload it later for you guys to watch it. You know, I like the interaction with you guys. Now, of course, my channel isn't as big, so I'm not going to have right now. I'm not going to have like 50 people in a queue or 100 or even 25. I ain't even reached 20. Maybe 20 is on my max. I ain't get to that level yet, but I should have a couple of people. But so I should have a couple people watching. This is a test stream, y'all. So if people come in, I talk about microchipping if it's worth it. I'm just trying to test it out to see if people get it. And I might have to contact YouTube behind the scenes and see what's going on. See, I don't know if they got a list where they stop sending you stuff or, you know what I mean? I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna probably contact them, the YouTube people in the back, and see what's going on with it. See what's going on with it. See what's going on with it. But do you guys have microchipping? What are your thoughts on microchipping your dogs? Do you think it's worth it? Because if you think about it, microchipping your dogs is not GPS. It's literally not GPS. So say, for instance, we're going to think of hypotheticals, right? If you got a microchip on your dog and somebody happens to steal your dog, say if you got a Frenchie, now if they never take the dog to the veterinarian, or it's not like the veterinarian is, you got to ask the veterinarian to really check it, and they got to actually find the chip. So is it really, really worth it? If people got bad intentions, then that microchip ain't going to really help you. Because like I said, I don't see, unless now if somebody found your lost dog and was going out of their way with good intentions to find your dog. Inquisitive, what's up, man? What's up, Lee? Okay, yeah, so you do got people in here. Okay, yeah, because the last time nobody was coming. I tested out, so this one is better. Yeah, I missed it because I just turned it off because nobody was coming. It was like 0. Okay, here. Oh, Lee was had a live. Okay, my fault. Okay, Lee had a live. I didn't know you was live, Lee. My fault. I would have never went live. My fault. I didn't even see it because, see, I didn't even get yours. I didn't even see your live. My fault. So yeah, we're gonna talk about microchipping. Yeah, I apologize for that. I would never do. I'm not like a blocker like that. I would have purposely waited, man. And I'm gonna have to look at your live when I get a chance. What's up, Brian? Because I'm like, I didn't even get a notification. Let me see. Why didn't I get a notification? Why didn't even not get a notification? Oh, okay.
The price dropped.
Okay, I see it now. Oh yeah, Lee. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to interfere with your live, Lee. Oh, you did? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I appreciate you then. Okay. Yeah, I would have never done that. I would have never blocked you like that. I would have joined your live, but for some reason, like I say, YouTube with their notifications is kind of wild. I think they must have changed it. I didn't even see it on there. So I was going to talk about on the other live. We was going to talk about dogs that have real poor nerves and what performance level can they get to. The performance level that they can get to. But while we're at it, microchip, me personally, I'm gonna tell you the story. So when I was gonna buy Jaguar, you see right there, I sent the email to Lee and I was like, Lee, do you do microchip? And he said he doesn't do it, but you know, he's not necessarily against it. I was like, cool, because personally, I didn't want my dog to have no microchip because, like I said, it's a foreign object in their body. Not only is it a foreign object in their body, if you really think about it, Chaka, leave it. If you really think about it, like I say, if somebody has bad intentions to take your dog, that microchip is not going to help them. I'm telling you. And not only that, a lot of times when you go to the vet, they can't find it. Now, some people might be for it. That's on you. But me personally, if you really want to track your dog, you will want to get a GPS collar. It's going to cost you some money. It's going to be more expensive, and it's also going to cost you a monthly rate. But if you got a GPS collar will work better too because it's real GPS. Like I said, microchips is not GPS. You can't look on a map and see a microchip. It's not going to help you at all. So me personally, I don't see the benefit of a microchip. But if you got a GPS collar and say if your dog ran away, you'll be able to track it. And then not only that, on most of the collars, you can put a light on the collar. You can put a light on the collar so you can really see where your dog is at. So that will be more beneficial. But microchipping and I just be realizing too that some breeders, you're not going to get away with that. So shout out to Lee Robinson for not enforcing the microchip. Like I say, I ain't going to say I'm anti-microchip, but I don't want no foreign objects in my dog. I don't want no foreign objects in my dog. Now, if microchipping was actually GPS where I can go on my phone and track my dog because of the microchip, then I would consider it. But I'd rather have a GPS collar. That's just on me. So once again, shout out to Lee because I see a lot of breeders, they won't even, you can't even get the dog unless you get a microchip. So it's like, let me microchip on my own. Why won't you leave that as an option? Why do you force me to get a microchip? That's not like microchipping my dog. Like, what's up? It's really no benefit if you think about it. Yeah, that's a good question, B. It's the one called. Oh, okay. We just sure noticed. Oh, okay. I didn't want to feel like I was. Yeah. Which companies manufacture it? You know what? I got one I feel like is good. It's called Tri-Fi. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I was being cheap, and I didn't want to pay the monthly. You can pay monthly, or you can pay like yearly, or every 3 years. It's called Tri-Fi. Trify. Trify. Those are good ones. And they work the whole country. So if you got somebody watching your dog and you in wherever you at, you in Cali and they're in California, you can look on a map and see where your dog is just in case you got somebody watching your dog. You know, so Tri-Fi is probably a good one. It's a couple of them out there, but microchips, like I say, some people may take this the wrong way, but I'm just telling y'all right now, I don't see the benefit of the microchip. That means that if a person got good intentions to return your dog, then if you got a regular collar with your name and number on there, that's enough. They're going to be able to call you and say, hey, I found your dog. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. But to scan the little chip and then to see what's on the thing and do all that, like I say, if a person got ill intentions and they trying to steal your Frenchie, they're not going to go to the vet because they already aware that some people have microchips. Now, I'm sure there's a couple instances out there where it might help people, but come on, man. And then I'm gonna tell you something. Before I got Jaguar, I had a Amstaff, and she microchip. The breeder got her microchip, And one thing about her, she has severe allergies. So I'm starting to also think too, I'm like, okay, if you got foreign objects in your body that ain't supposed to be there, she has severe, no matter what I fed her, no matter what, she was scratching. She used to get all these sores. I'm like, is it really the microchip? Like, why would I get microchips? That's why I say I don't like that microchip, man. Exactly. Lee, you hit it on the money right there, Lee. Exactly. Like I'm saying, it's like they try things with the people. It's like they try stuff with the dogs first. So Lee, so like once again, man, that's why I appreciate you, bro. Like, come on. And then it's crazy that certain breeders, they won't let you get their dog. I'm like, bro, I'm telling you right now, if you're a breeder and you ever force me to get a microchip, I will not buy a dog from you. I will not do it. I'm just not into the microchip stuff, bro. I don't care, bro. Exactly. GPS is better. Like, what's this? Shout out to B. Yeah, you talk about Sentinel's ear for identification person. Yeah, you can do now. Tattoos would be cool. It's not inside your body. It's just a tattoo. Exactly. That's what I would do. I would do tattoos. That's tattoos is cool. And a lot of times, like I say, that the chip gets inside there. You got to see the stories, y'all. Go to Facebook. One thing I can say, Facebook, they be tripping sometimes, but they got a lot of groups of people, and they got certain groups. You could type in microchip, and they'll tell you what's going on. A lot of times, they get switched to certain places. And like I say, for me personally, I got it once on my duck, and she was scratching and itching. I'm like, what's going on with my dog? What's going on with my dog? Like, why is she scratching and itching no matter what? I'm like, what's going on? So I'm not with that microchip and stuff. Like, yeah. So if you take offense to that, that's on you. I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't need to be tracked that way. But earlier on the live I did before a few minutes ago, I wanted to talk about poor nervous dogs. What are y'all opinion on poor nervous dogs? Now, I wanted to start off by saying, say if you got a dog that's like, say, a police dog, right? They're pursuing suspects. In order to be a high quality police dog, your nerves got to be amazing, and the trainers got to put you through different type tests, right? So, in order to reach that level, you got to have some good nerves, even for humans, right? If you ride race cars, what's that guy named Lewis Hamilton, I believe. If you ride in 200 miles an hour and you got poor nerves, you ain't gonna reach that level, because your nerves is part of your ability to stay calm and think. So as a protection dog, if your nerves isn't that good, your confidence isn't gonna hold up as much. But that same dog that may not have good nerves to do protection, you put them in with some pigs, or you put them in your property to guard against coyotes and bobcats and foxes and stray dogs, that dog could be a beast. So when you're evaluating your dogs, I recommend to really find out what you're going to do it for. But since I'm in protection as much, we're going to mainly focus on protection. But keep that in mind, that just because your dog may not have the nerves to be great at protection, they may have enough nerves to do hunting and then do predator defense dogs. But one thing I noticed about like the different sports groups, they do all the nerve tests and the sounds and the different things like that. And certain dogs, in order to get to the high level, you gotta have that. And nowadays, people imprinting their dogs early, which I think is good, with vacuum cleaners, with all different types of sounds. Me personally, what I like to do, you can go on YouTube and type in desensitize your dogs. You let them you can start them even earlier. So soon you get the dog, you play it in the background, change the sounds. You can play fireworks, because believe it or not, I even got clients like that. When they hear fireworks, they get real nervous. Now, so imagine is this logical? Imagine having a protection dog, and every time it gets thunderstorms, they get nervous. Your dog ain't gonna be able to live up to it. And this is why you got to be honest with yourself. And this is where the kennel blindness comes in. Your dog ain't gonna be a protection dog if every time it gets loud and thunderstorms and they get real nervous. It's just not gonna happen. You get what I'm saying? Like, especially if you live in a place where it's always thunderstorming, you know what I mean? Especially if you live in a place like that, you know? So a lot of dogs suffer from that. And this goes for different breeds. So another thing I wanted to point out too with the nervousness for the people not aware of it, because you might, all of your dogs might have been perfect. So if you get a dog that everywhere you go, like you take them out in social environments, they get real shook and they scared everything and they start shaking, and some dogs is worse at it than others, but you'll know when you got a real nervous dog. I remember when I first started my dog walking thing, one of my clients, this was back in 2000, her dog was like so nervous. I'm like, why? She was just nervous. Chakra, leave it. She was just nervous. Everything she do, she would just shake. You try to walk her, she was just like a nerve bag. Now those nerve bags usually ain't gonna, if they can see that at a couple weeks, those will get called off the program, because they was like a nerve, like you can't even walk them down the street. They would just be nervous and shaking, and they just be like, it was just like they was just terrified. Shout out to Lee Robinson, microchip revelations, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark. That is the name of the beast or the number of his name. Yeah, I'm not with that. I'm not with that microchipping. Yeah, and if you're a breeder, please don't. If you're gonna breed, let the client, if they want to go out of their way to get their dog microchip, let them do it. But to force it on people, what's up, man? But to force it on people, that's weird. That's weird. That's weird to me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just not in. But I understand that people is different. But to do that on your dogs, and like say if they don't want your dog to, I don't know. It's almost like they can, like, especially with new things now, they can say, okay, we want your dog to be. I don't know. So I don't know about that. But yeah. So as far as dogs with super bad nerves, if you get a protection dog, your dog don't necessarily have that nerves and the confidence. You want to point that out fast, because what happens is people get a puppy and they wanted to do protection, but they get attached to the dogs real fast. Now, if you're not honest with yourself, your dog's 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, and you haven't communicated with your breeder, it's like you got attached to the dogs. Now you got your children. They all love the dog, even though the dog ain't gonna be able to perform to a high level because they just don't got the nerves. Your nerves is directly related to your confidence. So you gotta have a dog that's naturally confident. So that's why the best dogs is the ones that's naturally confident. They overcome things. Now, even dogs that got excellent nerves, they're not gonna be perfect at everything. They might all of a sudden see a couch out and get shook from it. But as a handler, that's why you got to let them go through those situations where they feel a little bit insecure and overcome it. That's a little bit different situation, because just think about it. When I was younger, I used to live by an alley. I was young. Like the first house I ever remember being, it was the alley on there. So when I started going out, I used to always get nervous by the alley. And I used to ask people, can they walk me home? Because it was the alley there. My nerves wasn't as good. Or when I would go to the alley, I would walk almost home, because I live about 3 or 4 houses from the alley. I would run and then get past that alley. You know what I'm saying? But that was just the thing. So that's how dogs is in certain situations. They get nervous. But if you have the patience, certain nerves issues, in my opinion, like I said, I'm not an expert. I think certain nerve issues can be through exposure. You can desensitize them, and then that same thing that kind of made them nervous, you can get better at. But if you like totally nervous and you just like a nerve bag and everything gets you and you scared of everything, you even scared of other dogs, then that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work right there. Microchip dog to accumulate people next. Buy or sell, let's see. Yeah, we not with that. We not with them. We not with that chips right there. No way. Like I say, if it was and the crazy thing about it with the chips, if you want to speak on the chips, if they were so good at the chips, I don't know how long chips been under. They would be advanced by now. It should be GPS right now. They got all this technology, but it's no GPS. You can't find your dog. Like, You get what I'm saying? So you paying to put a foreign object in your dog, and it's no guarantee that they can do it. It's like it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Get yourself a little, yeah. Protect your dog too, because a lot of situations where you try to protect your dog, and that's all I would tell you. You know what I mean? That's all I would tell you, because GPS, if you want to spend that money, a lot of times it's going to cost you probably like maybe $80 to $100 a year. Because especially a lot of times those people that's really hunting, they got the GPS collars, because their dogs, they be having those dogs that go away. And I never heard them talking about they have microchips. Like, they got strictly GPS collars. So, but what else I wanted to say about nerves? Yeah, I wanted to point that out. So, like I said, say we're gonna use numbers, right? Say if you got a dog that's their nerves is their nerves is a 7.5, right? So you do protection, you do the best you can, you overcome it. They might just be at a level where they be a C plus at protection, or maybe a B minus. They might not ever make it to an A plus. But then you take that same dog and you put them under some pigs. That same dog with nerves of 7.5, but when it comes to hunting pigs, that same dog might be one of the greatest pig hunters you ever had, because it takes a different level of nerves to work with, to protect against humans than it does with hunting, because hunting is more instinctual in a sense. You don't got to think as much. You just go in there, get the pig. Now, of course, you got to do some thinking, but you're not like deep thinking, because when you deal with humans, you deep thinking. Also, too, if you're doing protection, you in different scenarios. You're around all types of people and all types of senses. You might be at a restaurant. You might be at a playground. You might be at all these different environments. But what a pig that's hunting, they just mainly in one environment. They out in the fields hunting pigs. So that's why having a relationship with your breeder is very important, and just understanding these things. You know what I mean? Just understanding them. So, like I say, American Sentinels, protection, hog hunting, and I'm gonna add predator defense to that. Lee don't really speak on it, but I'll definitely speak on it. Predator defense. A lot of these dogs will be predator defenses, because we know you got a lot of stray dogs out there. We know you got coyotes. We know you got bobcats. You got foxes. And a lot of these foxes, a lot of these yotes now, I heard the coyotes in California is different. That's what I'm hearing. I've never been to California. Anybody that's in California, they probably can vouch for you. You said the coyotes in California is not the same as coyotes everywhere else. They're a little bit more confident. You know what I mean? So your dog you might, like I say, if you decide, you know what, I don't want to do protection with my dog, because you just want to do predator defense. Yeah. And then your nerves, like I say, predator defense is there. In my opinion, the dog in order to reach the highest levels with protection is going to require a set of nerves that predator defense and hog hunting don't have. Yeah, I was scared, bro. Lee, I was scared. Yeah. A kid's bed with the right conditioning and printing properly can be avoided. Yeah. What's up, y'all? Yeah, that's also. You are in Cali. Shout out to Brian. Yeah, no fear of people. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And I seen videos where the coyotes was going after little girls and little kids. So I'm like, hold on, these coyotes is different. You're gonna need something that protect you. Like I say, a lot of times we get to the point where we accept being a victim. It's not cool. It's not cool about being a victim. It's not cool about that. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable if you out with your child and you try to be so along with the society that you willing to accept that a coyote can just snatch your little girl. No, come on, man. That's not cool. So you're gonna need something to protect you from that. You know what I mean? So let's see. Coyotes in Cali have a little bigger pack. Arizona too. Some coyotes down south, 35 cows. Oh wow. So yeah, I catch them on the camera here, but they sneaky. 1 minute last, maybe it was 2024, maybe 2025. They was in my yard. I was asleep. I was like, man, they jumped the gates, bro. They so athletic, bro. Bro, they like quiet like cats, but they different, bro. They sneaky, bro. They different, bro. They didn't develop their stuff over the years, man. Yeah, they of course when they in the pack, if you get a pack of coyotes, they're gonna be more confident and they real slick too. So you're gonna have something. You're gonna have something there. So if you got a dog with poor nerves and ain't willing to stand up for you against no coyotes, then that dog ain't worth. I'm telling you right now, that dog ain't really worth. If you buy a protection dog, if you buy a little Shih Tzu or something like that, to be honest with you, your Shih Tzu will be a victim. I hate to tell y'all this. A lot of times dogs be missing. I hate to tell y'all this. Coyotes probably got them because coyotes, you see them, you don't see them. They're very sneaky. I'm not trying to hurt y'all feelings. A coyote might have got them. A lot of times they're not running away. Coyote, and down here, I'm telling y'all right now, an owl or a hawk might have got them because that's just the way it works. You know what I mean? But if you buy a dog that's supposed to protect you, and then they got to be able to protect you from one or two coyotes, you know, for real. 6 in the pack, yeah. Yeah, they do. They very clever, man. Yeah, that's why you gotta have a pack. You gotta have a pack. You might need two for a couple. If you run into 6 coyotes, you might need to have two sentinels. Two sentinels that ain't playing no games with you. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to, because like I say, like it's nothing cool about being a victim, especially if you got your family with you. You never know what they might do. You got a little son, you know, he in a stroller. They can do anything, bro. They trying to survive, you know. Here I live in rural neighbors are mostly farmers and ranchers, but they got 5 or 6 dogs to protect livestock. Yeah, these dogs come from miles around and list other dogs and go hunt down packs. Yeah. Coyotes, and you technically, if you really think about it, coyotes come from the K9 dog world too, right? You can't really hate on them. You got to live with them. You know what I'm saying? You can't really necessarily hate them because they have a purpose too, even though that purpose interferes with our lives in a sense, but they're part of the world too, because we don't own the world, my friend. Even though we humans, we don't technically own the world. Like, it's not our world. It's not our earth. We don't own it. So you got to live with these things. But at the same time, like we live with snakes, but we don't nobody want poisonous snakes or snakes in their house. So they got to be in their own place. So, because a lot of times you hear people say, well, humans took over the land and this is their land. And they be real. Oh, they some people always on the animals. They always on the animal side. I love animals too, and they never be on the side of the humans. They always go against the human and be like, well, humans, if they wasn't building these houses here, I'm like, listen, the humans have the right to be there in peace, and if these coyotes can be there, just don't bother me and my kids in my house. And go do what you do, and go hunt and go what you do. But when you get close to my property, then that's when it becomes a problem, especially if you got plants and different things like that. And that goes for raccoons, that goes for everything, you know. You gotta stay in your lane, and that's no problem. Here's a lot of Great Pyrenees, some Kangos, like my parents on their farm got band dogs for catching hogs, then get out of the pen. Yo. Dogs, if you really think about it, bro, dogs is like we so fortunate to have dogs. Like it's amazing. Like it's literally amazing if you really sit down and think it. Because a lot of times your dog might get on your nerves a little bit. You might like my Jaguar. You know, Jaguar, he'll follow you basically everywhere. I'm like, Jaguar. Sometimes you just need a little. But then you think about it, even like dogs may live to be 15. You can't complain, because if you didn't have this dog around, you will wish somebody wanted to protect you. So I don't be tripping on it. Every now and then I just be needing a couple seconds away, and Jaguar, I just put them in a place. But we're real fortunate That's like a gift. Like if you really break it down, bro, like that's really a gift. Like that's what fascinates me, that you can really, they really got people, because we live in America, right? A lot of people live in places where they really living off the land. Literally, like it's not like us. It's not like they going to Walmart's. They living off the land, they hunting, and they got their dogs working with them side by side. You know what I'm saying? That's just amazing to me, bro. Yeah, raccoons. Yeah, raccoons. Yeah. Sure, they got a purpose, but here they get thinned out when they're too brave. But foxes, farmers like them when they get the mice, like always live, just don't get chickens or goats. Yeah, foxes are a problem too. Foxes are, yeah, foxes are. I haven't seen a fox yet. I haven't ran into a fox. I haven't ran into a fox. I've seen coyotes, but like I say, they sneaky. They get out and super fast. You know what I mean? Yeah, they got, yeah, that's, it's like they need us and we need them. Yeah, it's like a glyph. That's like, and I never lose focus of that. It's really like a blessing for us. That's really a blessing. Yeah, yeah, you hit it on a bunny. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, places like that, Mongolia, where they got real shepherds, bro. That's great, and they got this stuff passed on to them for years and years and years. It probably go back thousands and like hundreds and thousands of years, and they just got the knowledge passed on to them, and the dogs work with them. You know what I mean? And then you got dogs that they don't even want to come in your crib. They want to live outside. It be mad cold, and they still want to be outside. Like they don't want to. But then you got other people that don't understand dogs. They be like, "Why you let your dog be outside, sir?" These dogs don't want to come inside. But a lot of people don't get it. Like they just look at dogs as just somebody that you hold and carry them around. And oh, look at your dog. It's so nice. Oh. Come on now. And I'm gonna be honest with you. That's probably the cause of some of the dogs, the nerves getting bad, because over the years they've been like, I don't know, that could be it, man. I agree with that. Mankind, when it got to where we are as a species, that's a fact. Yeah. So this probably goes on way longer. Like that's a fact. Yeah. Dogs is like different, bro. Vixens are in heat soon. I thought that was January for coyotes. January is coyotes heat season, right? Oh yeah. So now, like I say, if you got bears and leopards, what's not too much you can do with bears? If you get a leopard, well, if I lived in places like that, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. I'm gonna keep it a bean with you, because we always talk about size. Shout out to Lee Robinson. He said the ideal size is 85 pounds. Now, if you're dealing with like leopards, you probably want your dog to be like 120. And you're gonna have to buy the collars, you're gonna have to buy the suits to protect them and the collars, because leopards is different. Now, the 120-pound Sentinel with some extra protection can protect you for sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they're gonna win, because I know a lot of people say, oh, but I forgot I was on a live. They said they live in somewhere and they got livestock guardians. Well, now I know how I was talking. They live in Colorado, and they got some Caucasian shepherds that really handle the business against those big cats and things like that. You know what I mean? Because those Caucasian shepherds, talking about thousands of years, those joints be like 150 pounds. Serious. You're gonna need something serious. That's why I say, if you living in these places like Canada and where you got moose, then you gonna have to adjust accordingly for facts. Because yes, essential for procuring and securing food, shelter, and wealth. Yeah, and just companionship. Yeah. But the crazy thing about it, they trying to take that away, y'all. They trying to take the working dog away. They think every dog, they think you got to go to the shelter to get every dog, and every dog is just a dog that's just a freeloader. Some people don't want a dog that's a freeloader. A lot of us want dogs that do stuff. Like you just freeload, you don't work. Like if you really think about it in the wild, y'all, there is no such thing as being a freeloader. You know, that's only like a human thing. Now you got vultures, but even vultures have a purpose. They keep the ecosystem in place. Even me recently, I was at a client house. We got the real big turkey vultures. They huge, bro. They look like National Geographic. They have their purpose of keeping the decay in the streets and different things like that. But even a vulture in the wild has its own purpose, you know? So when we speak of working dogs, we want a dog that'll do something, you know what I mean? That at least bark when somebody knock on a door, or at least, you know, if a stray dog run out of you, at least protect you from getting bit. Because like I say, getting bit by a dog, I seen stories recently, like unfortunately people was unalive by these certain dogs. I'm like, bro, like that's really sad. And I keep saying it. I'm like, bro, like, no. You get what I'm saying? So, man. So it's getting dilly cold. If the livestock goes to the barn, the dogs go too. But my dogs, of course, still Boston Terrier, they go out for 15 minutes at like 18 Fahrenheit 0. We can do 5 minutes. Yeah, yeah. You need those dogs that livestock. The livestock, those Caucasian shepherds, they built for the cold, bro. Certain dogs ain't built for it. Oh, vixens are female foxes. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so maybe I see it. Okay, I didn't know that's what they was called. You put in donkeys, you would be struggling and pick up dead coyotes on a pelt. Oh yeah, I heard about donkeys. Yeah, I heard about donkeys. I heard donkeys is nice. I heard they was nice. Now I don't know if they nice for donkeys. The coyotes in a wolf is a little different. Like trouble dogs in the shelter, and the chance of getting a dog that the average person cannot deal with is going to be higher. Yeah. He says oh, okay, yeah, that's what it is. Because here I always see them in January. I put the video while it was like January 1st. I see them like 3 times. Yeah. Coyotes are usually February. So is their gestation period the same as dogs, 63 days? This probably is, because they technically are K9s. And I heard, so it's the same. Okay, 2 months later. Okay, so they just like dogs. Yeah. But yeah, so microchipping, me personally, I'm against microchipping. My message to all the breeders out there, I mean, I'm not trying to tell you to change your beliefs, but just know a lot of people ain't gonna buy your dogs if you require them to get microchip. So why not just give the option to the person? I know you might feel like, I think a breeder might feels like they convinced us that microchip really was going to keep a track of them. So once a person is convinced of that, it's really no unconvincing them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just letting you know, if you force me to get a microchip, I won't buy those dogs from you. That's just how I operate. I'm not dying them. And nerves. What else I wanted to say about nerves? Can nerves? If I had a dog, right? We this always comes up. Nerves versus drive. Let me put this up. Nerves versus drive, right? Nerves versus drive. Me personally, let me see. Let me put this on there. We talking about nerves versus drive, right? Now we're gonna use the video game scenario. So we're gonna write numbers down. So we got nerves. Say you got a dog with a nerves of it. Say if you got a dog with nerves of a 9, but their drives might be like a 6. Or you might have a dog with crazy drive of a 9, but their nerves is a 6. Which dog would you take? Me personally, I'm gonna take the dog with the nerves of a 9 and the drive of a 6, because you can do exercises and condition them to increase their drive to like a 7 or maybe an 8. If you do it right, you start early, you condition them, you make them work for their food. You get what I'm saying? You make them work for their food, because if you think about it, if dogs just get to eat without working for it, their inspiration to work is going to be less, because once again, it's no freeloaders in the wild. You got to work for everything. You got to work for everything. Squirrels got to work. Coyotes got to work. Wolves got to work. The way the world is designed for it to be challenging. It's not designed for it to be easy. You get what I'm saying? So if you got a dog and you make them work early as a puppy, and they got to work for their food, they got to work for certain things, they got to work to play, that's going to increase their drive. So I would take a dog with a 9 nerves and a 6 drive, and I will build that nerve drive up to like a 7 and 8. Because technically, to be honest with you, a dog with a drive, unless you really going to do certain sports and certain things, most people don't even need a dog that got the drive of a 9 or a 10. You don't really need it. You get what I'm saying? Baby, where my baby girl Chakra? She's asleep right now. Chakra, come here, baby. She's sleeping. Come here. My baby girl Chakra, she got like high drive. And most people is not going to really, and to be honest with you, it'd be too much for you, because first of all, not only do they got high drive, their stamina be crazy. Their endurance be crazy. And they recover real fast. So if you think you just going, especially during the day, if you just think you're going to take them on a walk, and then that's not going to be enough. You're going to have to add to your walk. I'm telling you, you're going to have structure walk. You're going to have your walk structure. I'm telling you right now, if you go outside with your dog and your dog is not structured in the sense, they're just using pure instincts on a walk, they're not going to really get tired like that. You take that same dog, you put them on a walk where they're structured, where they got to follow certain rules. That's going to motivate their mind. And we know when you motivate your mind, like for humans, if you start doing crossword puzzles and all types of things and trivia, it's going to work your mind. You ever do something, you work your mind, you be tired, even though you wasn't physically. So that's how it is with the dog. You know what I mean? So high drive dogs it's everybody doesn't really need it, to be honest with you. And your dog can still do protection. But one thing about the high drive dogs I love is that they easy to train, bro. And not only that, they be so fun, bro. So me personally, I like the Lamborghinis. I like the Porsche 911s. It's fun to me. But the thing is, if you don't know how to teach your dog to have an off switch, then that's going to be a problem with you. So everything, the higher your dog's nerves are and the higher they prey drive is, the more it's going to require from you as a handler to be able to handle it. You get what I'm saying? So stick with if you don't want no Porsche 911, get yourself a nice Honda Accord that's reliable. Get yourself a nice truck. Like Lee always say, get yourself a nice truck. Toyota Tacoma, they reliable, they strong, they powerful. But if you start getting these cars that go 0 to 60 in 30 seconds, you're going to have to be ready for it. Because I'm telling you right now, they want to work. You get what I'm saying? They want to work. But the best combination is getting a dog that loves to work, but also has a prey drive. You get what I'm saying? Because my boy Jaguar, he has an off switch, but his prey drive is real high. And as he get more mature with other dogs, he's like playing the enforcer. So that's the best combination. Because to be honest with you, if you got high prey drive, but they don't know how to calm down, but that's why it's like it's like too much. Like you just come on now. You know what I'm saying? Because you need your house to be calm. It's not all hyper. You need a nice balance. You know what I mean? So, but I would take a dog. Let me look at your comments. Yo, what's up? What's up, man? What's up, gents? What's happening? Whitetail ball. Shout out to you. We was just speaking of coyotes. You want the stable nerves. Drive can be built on working nerves is more work. Exactly. That's why I'm big on the nerves thing. I would want the nerves too. Yeah. I would want the nerves. Tell them to change their beliefs unless they love big government making you conform. Is that? Yeah. Some people, bro. You know, once people figure out stuff. Yeah. So they can find you. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I'm not with that, bro. Leave us alone, bro. Just let us have our dogs. No microchips. Just let us have our dogs. Let us stay in peace, bro. Like we not bothering nobody. We're not playing. Just leave us alone, man. Yeah, structured play. You right. Shout out to you, OT 112. Yeah, you right. Anything that's structured where you make them think and use their brain is going to tire them out because you work in their minds. You work in their minds. But if you're not working their minds, in addition to that, dogs, I'm telling y'all right now, dogs is not humans. They get in shape way faster than us. They're different beasts. They recover from stuff faster. Dogs is different, bro. God created dogs on a different plane. There's natural drive and trained drive. What is taught would only take a dog so far. True motivation comes from within. Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that, Lee? Nerves can be bad genetic or they can be bad from lack of exposure. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I agree with that one. Lack of exposure. I agree. You got genetic nerves and you got yeah. You got genetic nerves. I agree with that. And a lot of times it's genetic. If it's genetic, and let me say this too. If you got genetic bad nerves, this is where human weakness comes in, right? Humans we naturally like to help people. That's our nature. Even though we allowed ourselves to get divided over the years, we naturally would like to help people, right? So what happens is if we know that if you genetically got super bad nerves, genetically, there's nothing you can do about it. But a human, they think they can be a hero and fix everything, right? You're not going to be able to fix it. So they keep going to training. And the real trainer going to tell you, like, nah, you get a replacement dog, or, you're not going to be able to do nothing. But some trainers ain't going to do that. So you're going to keep spending your money, keep wasting your money. We try to save you money here and save you time. Don't try to be a hero complex and try to save these dogs. Certain dogs, they just got bad nerves. They're not going to do it. But some, they just wasn't put in that environment. It's just going to take some time. So that's a good point right there, Lee, talking about. Go develop most dogs properly and the nerves are going to be okay. But if not, then don't breed it. But true motivation is like Rocky, drive. Yeah, I like the drive too. Yeah, I like both. But excellent drives, ain't that Chakra? My baby Chakra. What's up, baby girl? But some people, if y'all don't got a Sentinel, that's Lee Robinson right there. If you decide to get a Sentinel, make sure you, like I say, I always tell people to write down what you want. I want a dog. This is what I would do if I was going to get a Sentinel right now. I would say, okay, I want my dog to be, I want a male. I want him to be 80 to 90 pounds, whatever it is. I want him to be brindle. I want him to have, I want his confidence to be excellent. I want him to be high drive. I'm going to play. I'm going to do protection with him. I might do a sport. I want him to do this, and this. And then Lee will tell you, because if you tell Lee, like, okay, all I want to do is I just want to hunt pigs, then he knows that, like I was explaining to you before, the threshold for nerves in a hog hunter is going to be different than doing protection. You know what I'm saying? Chakra, leave it. Come on, play with these. Hold on, guys. Come on, baby. You know what I mean? So make sure you do it and have the list down so that way you can, because you know what you're doing. And Lee, you know what I mean? That's what I would do. But I like excellent nerves and social environments, and nerves can be steadily improved. And don't expect some dogs you can kind of see it early, but don't expect even your dog that has good nerves to not be afraid of anything. And this is where being fair comes along. Because if you got a 14-week-old puppy and they come to a fear period and they start to be afraid of certain things, be patient with the dog and understand it. And then they usually have a second fear period. I believe, I forget the time, maybe a year, but they're gonna have certain things. You can have a dog with excellent nerves, but they're not 100%. Nothing is 100% perfect. I have great nerves. I know for a fact I can be around people I don't know, because some people as a human, believe it or not, if you see a lot of people, they suffer from anxiety. A lot of that comes from social anxiety. They got social anxiety because they feel afraid when they get around people. They might worry about what people think about them. They feel uncomfortable. They only feel comfortable around people that they know. They might have a little shyness. Okay, we all know humans is like that. I have excellent nerves. I can be around people. I can talk to people, and then I also know how to be quiet. But if you put me on a somewhere high on a building, I went to Chicago. I think it used to be called a Sears Tire. Anybody from Chicago know what I'm talking about? That high building. My friend of mine, she lived right down there. I went there. First of all, the building is so high, bro. I'm like, why do they make buildings this high, bro? It's so high, y'all. If all the people in Chicago know what I'm talking about, they changed the name of it. It's so high. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The building is so freaking high, bro. I said no. My nerves ain't good enough for that. I get nervous. My nerves are so bad when it comes to heights. I can see something on TV and start shaking, and I put my head down. That's how bad my nerves is. But overall, I got good nerves wherever. You know what I'm saying? Socially, whatever. So that goes to show you, like dogs is kind of like us. They might be excellent everywhere, but it might be one situation. So this is where you're going to get into a point where you got to be realistic with your dog and you got to be fair with your dog. If you think of it like that, then you say, okay, my dog can do all this, but they might just have this one thing and you just work with it. But if you just give up if you just give up on your dog, that's why it's a balance between knowing your dog. That's why you got to reach out to people to understand their dogs more and sometimes get a second opinion, because if you unrealistic with your dog, especially if you compare yourself on the internet, the internet destroy a lot of people because all they doing is comparing their dogs. They think their dogs are supposed to be like everybody's dogs, but you don't know the experience this person has. Some people work in teams. They work in teams. They got a whole team of people that's imprinting on the dog. They going to dog clubs. They going to all types of different things. So if you're not doing that, usually they're going to be their dog is going to be a little bit more advanced. But so be realistic with your dogs. Oh yeah, let me see you the invite, Lee. Go ahead, Lee. Click on. Because you know, Lee, there you go, Lee. There you go, Lee Robinson. Banshee. I'm late for Lee Robinson. Lee Robinson, the drive king. Lee Robinson. So for those who don't know, Lee Robinson like drive more than nerves. I like nerves more than drive. But go ahead, Lee.
What's up, man? How you doing?
What's happening? Yeah, I'm good, man. I apologize. I didn't know you was online. I wouldn't have came online when you was there.
Oh, it doesn't matter. We just did it spontaneous. Nobody knew. We just did it.
Oh,
said,
okay.
Aiden and I were on the phone, and I said, "Hey, let's do a real quick live here." And he said, "All right, let's do." So we just did it, and it was a small live for only like a half hour, just 30 minutes or so.
Okay.
But no, when you say
before you get into that, talk about the microchips and let people know as a breeder, because this is important. Yeah, please do.
Look, I'm a believer in the Bill of Rights. You know, if a person wants to do it, it needs to be their choice. What I don't like is conspiracy theories, or excuse me, that's not what I meant to say. What I don't like is conspiracies. I don't have a problem with conspiracy theories if they're legit, but what I don't like is conspiracies where corrupt people are going to give you poison and then act like it's a gift.
Right.
You know, remember when the Tuskegee experiment, I think it was, when they gave those people injections and they're like, "Oh, we're going to give you a vaccination and protect you." What did they do? They poisoned the people.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of times people get a gift. They get a welfare check or something, and what do? The husband can't be in the house, so it destroys the family. Mm-hmm. So they're acting like they're doing a gift, but it's not a gift. It's a corruption to destroy and control society. So this is, and I'm not saying that that's the case across the board with everything that's given to us, but look at us right now. We're having massive inflation. The price of gas is going up like crazy. Why is that? Well, it's because of COVID-19, when everybody got free checks. When we got free money, the value of the dollar dropped because people didn't work for their money. Well, when you don't work for something, it's meaningless. And so everything costs more. So there's a reason why they're doing what they're doing, and it's because they want to control us. And if we're broke, and we go get in line to get our handout. When we become dependent upon the government, they can control us. Well, what do they want to do that? Well, they want to, I mean, for years, they've been talking about the benefits of giving a microchip where you don't have to keep up with a wallet. You don't have to keep up with an ID. It's going to be so convenient for you because you don't have to carry this stuff with you. You just got your bank right there in your skin. No, that's not a good idea, because once we go to a microchip and we don't have currency in hand, like gold, silver, cash, why did they get rid of gold? They don't back the dollar with gold and silver anymore. It's just piece of paper. Why? Because they can print it out and make it worthless. You can't print out gold. Gold had real value and silver had real value because it was a limited resource. Paper, we can just print it out and print it out, print it out. We think it's worth $1. Well, guess what? A $1 bill costs the same amount to make as a $100 bill. The only reason the $100 bill is worth more is because we believe it's worth more, which means it's fake. It's not real value. And that's the same thing with the microchip. It's something to control us, and people were smart enough to say, no, we're not going to do that. Well, so then the government said, hey, let's try a different angle. Instead of microchipping the people and the kids, let's say, but if you lose your dog, we can find it. And then all the little Karens and the PETA people and the Humane Society in the United States and the animal rescues and all the animal shelters like, oh, this is great. We can say it's Fluffy and find it. Well, no. Okay, that's just the way to get their foot in.
Microchipping is a scam, bro. You can't find it. If somebody wants to steal your Frenchie, they're going to steal it. Microchip, they're not going to find your dog. It's a scam.
You're not going to find the dog unless they take the dog to a vet, and a vet knows that the dog has a microchip and the microchip hasn't been destroyed or moved to a different part of the body. A lot of people don't like they used to put microchips like, what was it? I think in the armpit. Now they tend to put it under the collar, like in the back of the neck between the shoulder blades, but they can move. They don't move typically, but they can move. But when was the last time you have ever gone to the vet and the vet said, let me scan your dog to see if it's got a chip? They're not going to scan your dog unless you say, I found this dog. I want to find its owner. Well, if you do that, if you're the kind of person that finds a dog and says, I want to find its owner, guess what? You'll post a picture of it on Facebook. You'll post a picture on social media. You'll put flyers up on the street, found dog, we're looking for the owner. Call me, I've got your dog. You don't need a microchip, because the microchip's going to go to people that are hundreds of miles away anyway, and then it's got to go to some vet, maybe, if it's even scanned, and it's not going to be scanned. Not by a thief. A thief's not going to,
Exactly.
We got Black Betty disappeared. Somebody made a comment on one of my videos. She's with me now. And guess what? I posted a reply, hey, contact me. Never heard from them. I don't know if they stole the dog or not, but if they wanted to return it and they knew it was my dog, they knew how to get a hold of me. Guess what? They never did. So you think they're going to take that dog and check for a microchip if it had one? It didn't have one, but if it did have one, you think they're going to take it? They already knew how to get a hold of me, and they didn't do it.
Exactly. So like I said, I'm glad you like that, because it would have been. I just can't get my dog microchip after my other dog. It was like scratching, like it was like.
Yeah, it doesn't help you find it. All it does is give the ability to have your health records, your financial records, your bank account, your purchase power is going to be on that chip. And guess what? When they say shut it down, what year what year my vehicle is, right?
Yours is like a 12, right? You got the classic.
I got I have a 2015 Tundra that I gave my son, but my personal vehicle is a 2004.
Oh, wow. So you got the old, yeah.
I got the old one. You know why? New cars, they have, not only do you have computers in your cars, you have computers in your key.
Yeah.
If your key gets destroyed, you got to go spend $300, $400, $500 just to get a key to crank your car. If you're driving down the road and a police officer wants to pull you over, and you're like, let's say you're taking your wife to the hospital because she's going to have a baby, right?
Yeah.
And they want to pull you over because you ran the light turned yellow and maybe red when you went through it, and they want to pull you over, but you're trying to get your wife to the hospital. Or maybe she has a fatal injury and you're trying to get your child to the hospital, save his life. They can literally stop your car now, to pull you over. I'm taking my kid to the hospital. I'll deal with the constant school when we get there because I'm going to save my kid's life. But these new cars, they can shut it down, man. My nephew went to a Dodge dealership that was he was going to buy a used Mustang. And he had never bought a used car before. And he asked me if I'd go with him for the paperwork. And I was like, sure. So he made an agreement on the price and whatever. And when he got to close out the deal, the price of the car was like $1,600 more than it was what they agreed on. And so I looked at it and I was like, hold on, you got a GPS tracking device on this car. I see you're charging my nephew $1,600 for this. He goes, yeah, that's because if the car gets stolen, then we can find it for him and get it back to him. I said, no, it's not. That's because if that's what it was for, you would have sold him the product. You didn't sell him the product. You added it on. The reason you added it on is because you want to come repo the car if he misses a payment. So if you want to add that, that's fine. He's going to make the payment. But if you're adding it on there for your own insurance, then you pay for it because we don't want to buy it. So I like old vehicles, man. I don't need a computer in my car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I don't want
microchip. So Lee Robinson died. If you want to get microchip, you go to the vet yourself. Lee Robinson doesn't microchip every litter. Some breeders do. That's like I personally wouldn't buy Dolphins about I do that. Lee doesn't do it. So if you want microchips, you're welcome to do it. You know, you don't gotta be like us. But go ahead, Lee. We was talking about the nerves. What was you saying about the nerves?
So let's see if I can find a link. I sent a link to you in my comments. I'm gonna try to find it. I want to pull this up. This is a real case. It was in Ukraine or something like Croatia or something. Let's see if I can find it. What the heck? Is it disappeared?
It says open a link, but I don't see it. It probably won't show up on the thing. You probably got to send it.
Man,
it probably won't. It won't. Links usually ain't gonna show up on here.
Yeah, but I was gonna copy it. I was trying to copy it. It should have. It may have been automatically deleted, huh?
Possibly. Yeah.
Open the link. Yeah, it got automatically deleted. I'll find it. I want to do. This is a real situation. This is not something I made up. I do have it here. All right, so yeah, I don't have it on your thing, but let me.
You see where it says private chat on the right.
All right, let me hold on.
In the private chat, right. Yeah, and then I can.
Can I do a share screen?
Sure, yeah.
All right, this is a real video.
You should be able to share. Yeah, once you bring it up, then I accept it. Once you share the screen. For those who just coming in, smash the thumbs up. This is an impromptu. I apologize for last night. I was going to have Joe Reddington's son on here, the father of the Iditarod, his son. But I think it was I texted him. I might phone him responded. He's in New Mexico, so the time is off.
All right. Now this looks like a modern video with this girl. It's not. It's actually. This is. I don't know what year this was. Let me find the year. When did this happen? Let's see. What's this girl's name? Let me type in her name. All right, in 1983. Okay, this was in 1983.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to drop her name in the comments. Hold on.
Is that a video that you're about to play?
Yeah, I'm about to play it. This is a real video. It's she was neglected by her parents. Hold on just a second. Let me go back to YouTube so I can drop the description here. You can read the description of this young lady.
Mm-hmm.
So her name is Oxen Malaya. Okay. She was born in 1983, a Ukrainian woman that was famous for living with dogs for 5 years after severe childhood neglect by her alcoholic parents. She was found at the age of 8. The first 8 years of her life, this young lady was actually raised by the dogs. Wow. Now, when they found her, they tried to rehabilitate her. Now, this is, in my opinion, an example of permanent brain damage that can happen from limited exposure in early development. Mm-hmm. You mind if I play the video?
Sure, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Oh, I got to turn the volume on. By the way, you've heard people bark like dogs. You've never heard a person bark like a dog like this woman. She was raised by the dogs. Here we go.
He sounds just like he sounds just like a dog. Wow. That's crazy.
They've got her a lot better, but she never played with others.
Wow, this is a good story to speak about dogs and what as far as imprinting. That's crazy.
I would talk to them, they would bark, and I would repeat it. That was our way of communication.
Wow. Well done. Oh, African. Wow. That's wild right there, y'all. I put you.
See how loud she was when they tried to get her?
Yeah.
Now, I know this looks fake, but they actually had psychologists all involved in this and gave this girl tons of rehab, and they did get her to recover, but it was not the same. It's just, I remember a dog after a couple of years just finally reunited with her father. I can't believe that. I think the situation is changed. I'll tell you about it more when this video's over.
Когда была маленькая, я любила играть с вами.
Wow.
I'm surprised this has changed a lot over the years. Well, you can go watch a lot longer videos about this if you want to.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go ahead and end it. But you can go look up her name. I put it in the comments, and you can. So I learned about her probably around 1995 when I was working on my degrees in animal sciences and whatnot. And at that time, they were not having success with her. They took her into like psychologists and worked with her, and they were like, well, she's permanently messed up, dude. I mean, they were ready to give up. They didn't, but I see now it's changed. But of course, humans live, much, much, much longer than dogs. And so I guess with all the additional time that they've had over the last 30 years, they've made some progress. But for a long time, for years, they were not making any progress. It was just, they didn't think they were going to get her to change. But I guess I'm glad to see that she's much more able now, because I remember when I heard about this in the 90s, they're like, well, we did get her to learn a couple of words after like years of working with her. She's learned like, 10 words or something like that, but she wasn't able to communicate. Now she's able to have conversations. So yeah, you can make progress, but if you don't have that imprinting when they're early, it's really going to hinder the dog. Now, in my opinion, the dog's nerves, some people think that you check a dog's nerves by seeing how it reacts to, in general. Yeah. I don't think you can do that. I think to really check a dog's nerves, you have to see how it reacts in a new situation. So, because a dog is only going to be nervous the first time it's in a situation. Acclimation causes things to become familiar. And so if if you grew up in a parade, you're just going to think a parade is normal. But if you grew up in a closet, and then you go to a parade, you're going to be freaked out. The question is, some individuals genetically will adapt to a new environment faster than others. And so it doesn't really bother me a ton if a dog is a little bit nervous the first time it's in an environment, as long as it gets through it very quickly.
Right.
If it takes a long time to get through it, then you got a genetic issue. And so when I say I want drives more than nerves, it doesn't mean I'll accept crappy nerves. I won't accept crappy nerves. What I will accept is a dog that displays less than what I want, but he progresses quickly or she progresses quickly when I do my part. Now, the earlier I do my part, the faster they should progress. But if I put them in a closet and neglect them like a kennel, I'm calling it a closet. If I put them in a kennel and then I can't do my part until that dog's a year old, that's my fault, So now I need to be more patient with that dog, the same way these psychologists were more patient with that girl. And I see they were eventually successful. But if you don't do your part early, it's going to be more difficult on you later. So I think it's very important to get dogs out. And, the military has this stimulus development program where they would touch the dog's paws and rub its toes and turn it over and put a hot rag and a cold rag, rub their belly, and do various things and handle them. I think that helps a dog. I don't think you have to do that, though. And the reason why I say you don't have to do that is because I have found when I've had mothers that were not good mothers and I had to nurse the puppies, that alone was beneficial. Because me handling the dogs gets me involved. When I have a really, really good mother and she's doing everything, and I'm like, well, I don't want to interfere. I've got something over here I can do. I got something over there I can do. Well, then next thing you know, the dogs are 5 weeks old before I've done anything with them. And they're like, who the heck is this guy? They've never seen me before. I may pick them up and deworm them, but it's not every day is what I'm getting at. I need to be involved with them. I've learned that it's important to do something with them on a regular basis to help them really develop their true genetic potential. You're not going to change their genetics, but you can change their potential. Well, I take that back. That bell-shaped curve thing?
Yeah.
That's the genetic ability, right? They could be over here or over here. That's the curve is their genetics. Where they end up is their environment. Sometimes because the curve can represent a single dog or it can represent a population. So if the curve is representing the population, then any point on the curve is genetics. But when the curve is representing a single dog, now the curve is not representing the genetics. The curve is representing the environment because you're changing the environment. So as you go up and down the x-axis on the graph, we're looking at what are we actually assessing. Right. So the curve represents the genetic potential of a population, or the curve represents the environmental impact on a single individual. So this is what I'm getting at when I talk about I like high drive, because personally, you ever met people that they need external motivation?
Yeah.
They won't do anything unless you pay them. They won't do anything unless you punish them because they're not motivated internally.
Right.
They're like, well, what do I get out of it?
Yeah.
It's like you got to dangle a piece of food in front of them all the time, or dangle a dollar bill in front of them all the time. Well, there's the best bodybuilders. They go to the gym even when they don't want to go to the gym. They have that desire that comes from within to get fit. Well, I'm not a gym buff, but you know what I am is I'm a workaholic, man. I study, I work, I study, I work, I study, I work. Why? Because my mind gets bored if I just sit there. I remember seeing people and I'd be like, hey, what are you thinking about? And they're like, huh? I'm not thinking about anything. I'm like, how's that even possible? I don't understand how you could not be thinking about, or that you could be thinking about nothing. That makes no sense to me because my mind is always running. I just have a wheel in my head, always running something in the mind. And I like a dog that always has something running in its mind. I think that drive, it's not like Rocky said, Rocky Balboa, it's not how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Sure. I think a dog that has drive is able to keep moving forward because it's motivated from within. But I can tell you this for a fact. Many grand champions, pit bulls, many grand champion pit bulls, dogs that I would not want, have still been grand champions despite having crappy nerves. I wouldn't want those dogs. So even though they were grand champion and they had tremendous drive is my number one priority, but it doesn't mean I'll accept crap. If you have crappy nerves, I can't use you because I need you to be trainable. If you're so crappy that I can't train you because your progress is too slow, then I'm not going to deal with that. But if you progress at a decent pace and I can work with you and you have a ton of drive, then I can do whatever I want. I can get that grand champion, and it may take me a little longer to train you on certain things, but your drive is so high that once you understand, you're never going to quit.
Right.
It's like, I know what to do now. I just needed permission. And now that I know what to do, it's on like Donkey Kong. So that's like those game dogs that were nervous. Let me think of, if I can think of one that was famous for being nervous. I know of one. I'm not going to mention its name because I don't want to blast the guy, and he doesn't really care. But and he doesn't care if the dog's a little nervous or whatever. But like a hog hunting dog or something, it's not a Sentinel; it's a pit bull. But if we're using for hog hunting or something, it's fine for hog hunting. It's not a dog I'd want for the American Sentinel program because it's nervous. You know. Oh, I know one. Then I'll put it on me. I know of one. So you take my dog, Miss Bandit. Great dog, solid nerves, solid drive. She actually has a sister that has higher drive, but weaker in the nerves. And I got rid of her. So you might think, well, Lee, I thought you said you wanted drives more than nerves, and you got rid of that dog because her nerves were weak. So it sounds like you wanted nerves more than drive. That's because there's a cutoff point, right? So let's just say, for example, Miss Bandit has high drive and sorry, my camera. So let's say Miss Bandit's like this, high drive and high nerve.
Yeah.
She doesn't have bad either. The other dog had excellent drive. I mean, tremendous drive, but the nerves were just too low for me. All right. So she wasn't, it wasn't a small difference. It was a significant drop. So, you know, if I have a dog that's got a small drop in nerves, but has tremendous drive, I'm taking that. But if the drop of nerves is too much and the dog's going to be just too hard to work, then that dog, for training or protection work or obedience, then that dog needs to do something like you said earlier that's more natural, like hog hunting.
Right. So break that down. Like, I'm here with Lee Roberts here. Make sure y'all smash the thumbs up. I'm glad y'all was able to join me. So when a person is trying to get a dog from you, and you take us through the process. And when a dog says, hey, I want to do sport work, protection, and this is the litter I'm interested in, and how as a breeder is going through your mind when you're looking at the dogs to say, okay, I'm gonna place this dog with this person here. And you have other clients that say, hey, they just want a home protector. They're not going to really do a lot of training. Can you able to break that down for us?
Sure, absolutely.
Place the dogs with the clients? Yeah,
absolutely. So if the person says, hey, I want a dog that's just for hog hunting, and I might have dogs out there, let's say, for example, I have a litter of 10 puppies, and I might have 2 that can do anything, PSA, sports, high drive, high nerves, or whatever, you know, any type of event. I have a couple that are really good with the family, good, stable, pack instinct, high drive, decent nerves, not over the top. And those could be like really good family guardians. Let's say we have a couple that are high drive but weaker nerve. Those are going to go to your hog hunters. Then you have some dogs that are a little bit lower drive but got really good nerves. Those might go to a family setting where it's more of a pet class animal. Right. Because a family doesn't need a nervous animal. Right. Okay. They might want a working dog where they get solid drive and solid nerves, but they might want just a pet. And if they just want a pet, then they need solid nerves, so the dog's not going to be nervous, but they don't need that. They don't need that Ferrari, you know.
Right.
So I like high drive and high nerves, but I know that drive, when you condition an animal and it gets used to it, drive is what carries them to the finish line. And so that's why I like that's why I put drive as my personal priority, as long as the nerves are good enough. I will not take a crappy nerve dog, but if the nerves are good enough, then I want the drives to the extreme. Like Chewy is too much drive for most people. She's off the charts. I mean, she's in a cage right now across the room, and it's covered up. Actually, the cage is covered up. I would show you, but I got a blanket over it because we had a guest over. I didn't even want her to see that guest. Let's see if this will work. Chewy, guard. Chewy, what's that? She's asleep. There she goes. Chewy, guard.
So Lee, from your perspective, with all your years of experience, almost going on 30 years, the average client on a scale of 1 to 10, how much drive do they really need for them to successful American Sentinel on average?
For who?
For just the average client that's not really going to be doing sport, that just want a family protection guard and just going to do basic obedience. They're not going to be doing, taking care.
I wouldn't say there is an average because every client's a little unique. We're all unique.
She's like probably a 9 or a 10, right?
Who?
Chewy.
She's a 9 or a 10, every bit of a 9. And
yeah, so she's too much for most people.
Oh yeah, you could go out there. And when I say a 10, I don't want to say 10 because in my opinion, a 10 never exists, right?
Yeah. Because
there's always another dog somewhere in the planet that can do just a little bit more. So if you say 10, that means you can't be any higher. So to me, 10s don't exist. So but she's a solid 9 all day long. I could take that dog outside and we could play tug for an hour. She's just gung ho. She loves it. And as soon as I drop it, she's gonna be like, "What's next? What's next?" She's on crack, and I like that, but I'm the type of person that knows how to handle that.
Right. And
to me, it's a plus.
Can you hold it? I gotta take my puppy out to the bathroom. Can you keep going? Let me take my
dog. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a plus because that means I can work the dog as long as I want to. And then I don't have to stop to wait on the dog. I mean, the dog is literally begging me to keep going and keep going and keep going. So I can work as long as I want. And then when I'm ready to quit, I can tell her, okay, let's go inside. And she's happy to go inside. And all I got to do is give her some praise or love, and she's very affectionate. So I can get on the couch and chill, and she'll jump up here and just love on me and let me watch TV and be a couch dog. So, but she just loves to interact with me. So her drive is to work, but it's also to be affectionate, and I can mold that to my situation. Plus, I tend to be a type of person that doesn't panic under stress, and I know that some people, when they have a dog that keys off on everything, it can be stressful for them, and the dog will pick up on that energy. So if you're the type of person that gets worried about that, or people in your family get worried about it, you can make that problem more difficult. And so, but dogs like Chewy are not your norm. She's pretty extreme. And if you want to do something like PSA or KNPV or whatever it is, Schutzhund or IPO or Schutzhund IPO, same thing. What it has another name for the same thing. I'm forgetting the other name. Schutzhund IPO and what is it? I'm having a brain fart. Somebody mentioned it in the comments. What am I forgetting? But French ring or whatever it is, then you can use a dog like that, and you're not going to find it to be inconvenient. You're going to find it to be an asset because you can go as far as you want. All right, let's see what else. I was going to say something else about that young lady, but can't remember what it is. Hopefully Jalik will be back in a minute. Let me check your comments and see if there's something. I can't. Oh wait, here it is. Comments. Boom. French ring. No, I was talking about the Schutzhund IPO, and there's another one. It's the same thing. It's all the same thing. I can't remember. It's IPO, Schutzhund, and it's not IPA. What is it? Maybe someone. No. you know who know is the guy that's got. I can't remember the dog's name now. Thought I saw him in here earlier. Who's got the dog off of
Thanks, Lee.
Bumper and Luna? Who's got the dog? What's the dog's name?
His name is Knox.
Knox, yeah, Knox.
J.O., yeah, Jared has it. Yep.
Jared, is he in here tonight?
No, I haven't seen him yet.
Okay. Yeah. So Schützen is called Schützen IGP. That's it. IGP. I was trying to remember. Yeah, Schützen IPO and IGP. What is it now? Is it IGP or IPO? I forget.
IGP. I think it's IGP.
Yeah, maybe right. The way they did that, but all right.
So IGP, yeah.
So anyway, you asked me about the we did the microchip and then we did the driving nerve. What else is next?
Yeah, that's basically it as far as like the nerves. I was just trying to keep speaking on like unrealistic expectations that some people have on their dogs too, Lee.
I wish I could find the video. We can pull it up another day because I would have to search back for years probably. But we sold a dog to a guy in where was he? Very violent country over in Africa. I can't remember the name of it. Let me pull up a map. I'll recognize it. African map. Africa. Let's see. Nigeria. We sold two dogs to a guy in Nigeria, and one dog I would have loved to keep her, but you know we have clients that really want certain things, and I try to take care of my clients, and this is the dog he wanted. And then I had another dog that he wanted, and we sold him this other dog that I knew was a good dog, but I guess sometimes a dog, when you're flying to Nigeria or anywhere across the country, usually transports don't have negative experiences, but they can. It's possible for a dog to have a negative experience during transport. And so the dog got there and it was a little bit nervous or whatever. And I was amazed when I saw the video and the guy complained because this dog was like 3.5 months old and he had like an 8 or 10 foot fence around his property. And his property was about the size of half of a football field. This fenced in area was about the size of half of a football field.
Wow, okay.
And he was standing at his back door and somebody started coming through the gate that was like 50 yards away. And he had his 3.5-month-old puppy at his feet. And he opened the door and the puppy ran all the way across to the gate, barking aggressively, and ran the man all the way up to the man and then stopped like 5 feet from the man and then barked at the man. And the owner was disappointed because the puppy didn't attack the man. I'm like, the dog ran 45 yards across the what?
At
3.5 months. 3.5 months. Dog ran 45 yards across the property and is barking at the man, but because he stopped 5 feet short, he was like, "Oh, this is a cur." And I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me! It's a 3.5-month-old puppy. Puppies are not protectors, y'all. Puppies are protected."
No, Lee, just to emphasize that, we're gonna use sports terms. You got a 10-year-old running a 40-mile-yard dash, and he runs a 4.4 at 10 years old, and you say, "Oh, that's not good enough. He didn't run a 4.2." People is gonna think you lost your mind. A 10-year-old running 4.4, that's like out of this world.
Right.
Yeah, that's like exceptional.
Yes. So it cracks me up. But that said, I remember another situation. We have a transporter that we've used for a number of times. Never, ever had a problem. Never had a problem. I've used this transporter. I'm going to keep their name out of it. They've probably transported over 50 dogs for us. Never had a problem. They got married. They transported 2 dogs with their spouse. I'm trying to be as vague as possible because I don't want this to come back on the person. They transported 2 dogs with their spouse. Both of those dogs arrived nervous. About 5 days after they were transported or so, this transporter contacted me and said, I cannot believe I married this person. They were completely different than what I expected, and I've already had to file for divorce. So I'm assuming that there was some sort of domestic violence involved, because who gets married and divorced within a week because a person is not who you thought they were, and at the same time, a transporter who's transported like 50 dogs never had a problem before, all of a sudden 2 dogs have a problem on the same trip. I think she married an emotionally unstable person that became, oops, I said a she, my bad. So I think she married an emotionally unstable person that probably took it out on the dogs. Now, with that said, one person, we replaced the dog. The other person, they called me up and I worked with them over the phone, and I got the dog to come out and work with me over the phone on a live video. I told them to pull up their phone. We did a live video, and they didn't know how to get the dog to be comfortable. And they were like trying to motivate the dog with food, motivate the dog with various things. And I said, all right, I want you to put me on speakerphone and I want you to be completely quiet. And they're like, okay. They thought that's strange. Probably they may have thought it was strange. I'm assuming they thought it was strange because I was going to try something that I know that works. And I said, put me on speakerphone. And I said, turn the volume all the way up. And so they turned the volume all the way up, and I held the phone right up to my mouth and went, and you're like, why were you doing that? Well, if you know anything about puppies, when they nurse and the mother starts to release her milk, she has what's called a prolactin surge, which causes the milk to come out. And when she does that, she pants real fast.
Oh, wow.
When I did that on the phone and I started panting, I was trying to simulate a very comforting sound to the puppy, nursing with your mother. The puppy picked up its ears. I was watching it on video, picked up its ears and came out of the cage. And within 5 to 10 minutes, the dog was playing tug in their living room.
Wow.
So not everybody knows this type of thing, but if you understand what can make a dog comfortable, a lot of times you can make a dog comfortable by working with what motivates that animal. So you have to stimulate what motivates that animal, and you use that
right
to get the dog comfortable. And then once you get the dog comfortable, you can play. So food is a motivator, but not always. Some animals aren't motivated for food. Some animals are motivated by play. Some animals are motivated by pack instinct. Some animals are motivated by comfort from their mother. So, but by doing just different things like that, you can work with what motivates that animal, and then you build from there A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. You don't go from A to Z. You go from A to B and B to C, and you're progressive. So that's when you talk about unrealistic expectations. Expecting to run a drag strip and win when you're riding up to the drag strip on your lawnmower. I mean, come on, dude, you got to have the right equipment. You got to find what's motivating.
You mind talking about Rusty?
Rusty, who? Oh, Rusty.
Yeah, he's in the UK, remember?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He was off of Scratch and
Trinity.
Trinity, yeah.
And you seen the because I personally seen the video where they took him to evaluation and
Oop, you cut out, you froze up.
Oh, it froze up.
I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. Can you hear me, Jalik?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, so Rusty, I've seen it since Rusty. Rusty was a good dog. Rusty was a real serious dog. If you're not his family, he not playing no games with you. But he didn't necessarily have the prey drive. From what I've seen, he didn't really have the prey drive to
yeah.
At that
I
time.
think that dog had great prey drive.
Exactly. But when they took him out to evaluation, I don't know if you've seen the video. He wasn't chasing the rag.
I saw a video where he was kind of laying down and he didn't look interested. He would bite it, but he wouldn't play with it. He was just kind of nipping at it. Yeah, I think that was a dog that was being asked to do something by people that it didn't know. That's what I think, because that wasn't even the owners. The dog was taken to a trainer, and I don't really know the situation there because that trainer is actually somebody I trust. But I wasn't there, so I don't know. However, when that dog came here, I mean, I've got videos that show the dog was like trying to attack the lawnmower, trying to attack the tractor, trying to attack people, trying to work a rag. I mean, everything I threw at it, he was bam, 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 bam. But I didn't do that until he had a relationship with me.
Right.
You know, this is one of the things that I like about Ivan Balabanov. He says play is one of the most important things that you can do with your animal, because that's how you build the bond of trust. Well, if the dog doesn't know it can trust you because it lives in a crate and you've only had it for a couple of days, but it's never done anything with you, you might be taking good care of that dog by keeping it warm, giving it water, giving it food, making sure it's clean, walking the dog. But when did you personally invest yourself as far as play? When did you develop the relationship? Trust is earned. It's not given. Respect is given, but trust is earned. And what I mean by that is if you meet somebody on the street and they say, hey, what time is it? You'll tell them what time it is and, you know, just move on. But if you meet somebody on the street and they say, hey, can I have $5? You'll probably respectfully say no. You don't have to disrespect them. You can just say no. Why do you say no? Because you don't trust that they're going to use the $5 right. You think they're going to go buy a bottle of alcohol. You don't think they're going to go buy a hamburger. You know, these drug addicts, we don't trust that they're going to use that money wisely. We believe that they're probably homeless asking for money because they make bad choices. And so, you know, when a friend says, hey, Lee, can I borrow $5? Let's say you and I went to, we're driving on a road trip, and you have you left your wallet at the house, and we went to the store, and you say, hey, Lee, I left my wallet at the house. Can you loan me $10 to buy lunch? I say, sure, no problem. I give you the $10. We go back home and you pay me back. Well, next time you can ask for 20 because you paid me back. The next time you can ask me for 50 because you paid me back. The next time you can ask for 100 because you paid me back. But if we get home and you don't pay me back, then you broke trust. And so trust is important, and it's developed through play. I call it the behavioral bank account. You know, when you go to a bank, you say, hey, I'm going to open an account. If after you open the account and they're like, okay, how much money do you want to put in the account? You're like, I don't want to put money in. I want to take money out. They're like, it doesn't work that way. You got to put money in before you can take money out. And so, you know, before you ask your dog to do something, why don't you invest in it? And I don't mean invest money. I mean, invest your time, develop some play, develop some fun, get a relationship, find something that dog likes that it thinks is rewarding. Here's an example. Just because you think it's a gift doesn't mean it's a gift.
Facts.
If you give a woman flowers that thinks you're a stalker, they're not going to like those flowers.
Right.
That's going to be a threat to them.
That's facts, yeah.
So, you know, but if you give a woman that likes you flowers, it's a great gift. So the same item might be a gift for one person, but then torture to another.
Facts.
So you have to understand the animal that you're working with, and a lot of people don't do that. There's a movie with Anthony Hopkins and Cuba Gooding Jr. that I really, really like. It's called Instinct. Now, don't confuse this movie with Basic Instinct. That's a totally different movie that's just trash. But the movie with Anthony Hopkins and Cuba Gooding Jr., and it's called Instinct. I've talked to some people that have seen that movie. And I'm like, hey, did you ever see that movie? And I'm like, yeah, it was okay. To me, it's a great movie. But they watched it for entertainment. And I watched it from a perspective that related to me. And that is givers and takers. If I give you a present, you don't take it, you accept it. The difference between a taker and a person accepting is a person that accepts a gift knows that it's a gift. So by accepting the gift, they're actually giving back acknowledgement of the gift, and that shows appreciation. That shows I'm not taking you for granted. But if let's say I'm going to give you this remote control, you ask for the remote control, and I hand it to you, and then you reach out and snatch it. That's no appreciation. Next time you ask for the remote control, I'm saying, get it yourself. because you're rude. You take me for granted. You think I had to give that to you? I don't owe you anything. So this is why I think it's important that in that movie, he talks about givers and takers, and that we should be givers and we should never be takers. I tell my children, you never take anything. If somebody gives you a present, you don't take it. You accept it. That shows that you're giving them back appreciation.
Right. That's fact.
And I think that's how we should be. And if people are givers to me, then I give to them more than they want. But if they try to take something from me, I'm going to snatch what I can and say, get the heck out of here. I don't want nothing to do with you. You're on your own.
Right.
I don't owe you anything, buddy. So like when somebody comes at me disrespectfully, I'm not helping you. You came at me wrong. I mean, who do you think you're coming to? Who do you think you're talking to? You know, and I think that we need to do the same thing with our dogs. We need to, and see, when you take something, you automatically cause aggression. And that can be used by a decoy or an agitator. An agitator can go in there and agitate a dog and make him aggressive by taking his peace, taking his comfort, taking his his toy, taking his whatever it is, like, let's say you go in there and you flank a dog, you caused pain. That's taking away his peace, taking away his comfort. If you go in there and you stalk the animal, you're taking away his comfort. The dog's going to respond aggressively. You're taking away his potential territory. Dogs fight, or deer, bucks fight for mates. You're taking away their ability to breed by breeding their does in their territory. So taking causes aggression. I think that's a great movie that every trainer should watch. If you're an animal trainer or you're an animal lover, watch the movie Instinct with Anthony Hopkins and Cuba Gooding Jr. Great movie.
Lee, I have Sentinel, so I'm kind of used to it. Speak to the people that never had a working dog, but they want one of your puppies, and this puppy got a high prey drive. What do they want to look out for, and what they want to be prepared to do? Because hold on, you're an honorable breeder. If a person say I got this dog is too much, Lee's gonna take the dog back. But at the same time, so speak on that, Lee, because some people just don't know. Like I say, they're not used to certain things, and it becomes it can become too much.
Yeah, and I need to kind of finish up about Rusty, because I was going to get to a point. I think the people that had Rusty were good people, but what you're talking about with prey drive. I had another client one time that you ever opened up your mailbox and you saw a spider in the mailbox?
Yeah.
Or something. Some people will see that. Like I did this literally yesterday. That's why I thought about it. I opened up my mailbox and I saw a spider. If my wife would have opened up the mailbox and saw a spider, she would have jumped back and hollered and said, "I'm not getting the mail. You got to get it." I don't do that. I just reach down, grab a stick the stick in the mailbox, spin it around, pull the spider web out, throw it out. Oh, the spider's still in there. Go in there and smash the spider with the stick. Done with it. Grab my mail and go home. It doesn't cause me to react. Well, this person that had this one dog that was prey driven and it wanted to bite the pants and stuff, they would jump on the couch and start hollering like, stop. Well, what do you think that puppy's going to do? What do you think that puppy's going to do? That puppy says, that puppy's like, yeah. That puppy is like, yeah, this is awesome.
I know you had that, Lee. Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy. That's why it's good to reiterate how to do it, because like I said, somebody's gonna get your dog and they just don't know because they're not used to it.
Right. So if that happens and it bothers you, all you got to do is reach down and pick up the puppy. Yeah. Or get it a toy. If they're biting your pants and you don't want them to bite your pants, because there comes a time and a place that's okay, this dog is getting bigger. I can't let it continue to bite my pants. It's going to start hurting, right? So all you do is don't move your leg. And if the dog doesn't stop, you reach down and pick it up. And then after you pick it up, you get you a rag or a toy and you zigzag the rag or a toy on the ground, and while it's moving around, you set the puppy back down. If it goes to your leg again, you pick it back up. You deny success. And then once you deny success, the dog, it's going to extinguish the behavior because it's no longer rewarding to bite the leg. Because every time I bite the leg, I get picked up. I don't want to be picked up. I want to play. So you keep picking the dog up and then put it back down. Eventually it gets on the toy and the dog's allowed to play and you make it more fun. But if the dog bites your leg, you just pick it up. You're not going to holler and scream and jump on the couch because now the dog's like, I got to try harder, you know?
I can see that, yeah, because all my dogs, they definitely biting. You gotta condition them not to do that. But most high-end drop puppies is going. Even regular non-working dogs, puppies probably do. That's just like a puppy thing. Most
and I don't know if that happened with Rusty or not. I was talking about somebody else, but I kind of wonder, did the behavior, because I remember they were worried about him. The people that had Rusty were worried about him barking and showing aggression to people.
Now speak on that, Lee, because that is alarming for most people that got like people coming over. They not used to that one. That's a little different than.
So there's another way to deal with that, right? So let's say the puppy is showing aggression and starts barking around 4 months of age. And you're like, I want a guard dog, but he's a little too much. Well, then fine. Just calm the dog down. Find a toy or a reward, something calming and soothing. Don't pat the dog. Don't go like this. Instead, do this. Stroke the dog. So stroking is going to calm the dog down, and patting is going to excite the dog. So if the dog is barking, you pat the dog, and now you're going to build more aggression. If you don't want that, don't excite the dog. Calm him down. Say, it's okay, buddy. Just chill. Just chill. And then you can have the person come in and just be polite, non-threatening, and the dog will acclimate to that and will learn to, I don't have to be aggressive every time I see somebody. So you have to ask yourself what level of aggression you want. If there's no aggression because the dog's just wagging his tail and you're like, I want more aggression than that, then have somebody sneak around and act suspicious and you can build up some of that aggression. So you have to like look at the animal and ask yourself, what do I want? He's too friendly. I want to build some aggression. So we're going to have somebody act suspicious. He's too aggressive. I want to calm him down. So we're going to have somebody be calm and let the dog acclimate and learn I don't have to be aggressive to everybody, and then adjust the dog to where you need it to be. However, some people don't know how to do that. And I think this is the case with Rusty. I think that he was actually too aggressive for them and they didn't know how to deal with it. And instead of calming the dog out, they themselves probably had a cortisol spike. It probably made them nervous. Oh my goodness, what do we have here? Oh my goodness, what do we have here? Well, that stress of the people is going to feed into the dog, and it's going to make the dog more aggressive as well. And so that could lead to compounding the problem. And so sometimes if you have a situation like that, the best thing to do is just get the dog into another home, get that family a dog that's a little bit calmer. The only problem with that is if you get them a dog that's a little calmer, and they wanted a protection dog, now you got a wiggly butt, and they're like, well, I can't make this dog aggressive because he's too wiggly, because they don't know how to develop that either. So, people need to know how to make a dog more aggressive or less aggressive, and if they don't know how to do that.
You should do a straight video on that in print. Mm-hmm. You really should, because a lot of times, like you said, bro, these some of these Sentinels, they be serious dogs. They be serious dogs, like, they be like 3 months, 4 months. You come up to the car, they ain't letting you into the car. And a lot of times, people they want a finished product. They want a perfect dog that's like a perfect representation of a personal protection dog that only does stuff on command, and they only be three months old. But that's not realistic. Once again, you got to train for that. That takes training and training. You're not gonna just do that at 3 months. They're trying to protect you. You want a protection dog. I mean, hey.
Albert Einstein had a lot of intellectual potential, but he didn't develop his mind by sitting in a closet. He had to go out and get books and study and work. All right. If you want to be expert at anything, I don't care what your genetic potential is, you're going to have to put in the work. Arnold Schwarzenegger became great for 2 reasons: genetic potential and work.
Right.
I could work just as hard as him. I would never be him, because I don't have the genetic potential for that kind of physique. So, but somebody else, but if he had the genetic potential and never did the work, and I didn't have the genetic potential and did do the work, I could beat him if I did the work and he did not. But because work can beat genetics, but work cannot beat genetics if genetics works also. So no matter what you have, you need to work it. You need to develop it and adjust it to what fits your lifestyle. I remember when I was in college, you know what Akita are. Akita tend to be very aggressive. I had 2 Akita when I was in college that were social butterflies. Why? Because I was a social butterfly in college. I met people. We went camping. We went hiking. I was always having people over. I was always interacting with people. And because I was fairly interactive, my dogs learned to be friendly. I wanted them to. I didn't need a protection dog at that time. I didn't have a family. I was a young, healthy man that could defend myself. I didn't need a dog to protect property that was rental property. It's not even my property. I don't have kids. I didn't have a lot of assets. I was 23 years old, 24 years old. What do I have that's any value? My car. Guess what? My car's not even at the apartment when I'm at school. So, there's nothing to protect. I kept my dogs friendly, and they were friendly.
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing I can see where if you got a Sentinels, they high prey drive and they like to go after things. And then they also a lot of these Sentinels know who lives in the house. So they might have met somebody, but if you don't live there, they're not going to just be your friend like that. And that can be challenging for a person. So that's something that you got to learn to deal with. If you ever get a Sentinel like that, like reach out like Lee. I can definitely help you with it because none of my dogs is friendly like that to the public. So I can help you as much as I can. But like Lee said, each individual person in their environment is not the same exactly. So
hey, scroll up. Oh, let's see if I can. All right, let's put up the comment above that one.
Yeah.
All right, this one here. All right, please stop. Let me ask you this. If you never got paid, would you work? You're going to go to your job and work every day and never get a paycheck? No, you'll do that when it's for your household. You'll do that when it's like, let's say you'll cut your grass without getting paid. You'll plant gardens without getting paid. You'll like fix a broken window without getting paid because that's your house. So a dog will work for you without getting paid after you've developed a bond. But to develop that bond, you need to pay the dog. You need to play with the dog with toys to become a person worth investing in, to become part of the pack, to become a team player. I mean, when you invest in that dog's going to learn, I like this guy. Now, once you get that connection and you've trained that dog, then you can ask the dog to do the same thing without having to pay it, because now the pay is pleasing you because you have a relationship. You have that bank account, that investment into the dog. Why would a dog invest in you if you don't invest in a dog?
Because a lot of times people think a lot of dogs are opportunistic, but a lot of people think the dogs is just there to please them. But that's true in a sense. But at the same time, they still want to have some type of reward. And what I was telling them, like without treats and toys, some dogs is not toy or treat motivated. That's why you got to use your voice. Praise, petting the dog and playing with them is also the reward.
Right, those can be. But there, if you go back old school to, let's say, the 1980s or whatever, or look at some of these elephant trainers from the 1950s that got killed because they were using probes and cattle prods to move these elephants, right? Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? Pain can be a motivator, but who wants to be a slave?
Right.
You're like, well, these trainers are like, well, I want my dog to do it because I said so, even if I don't have a toy or a treat. All right, fine. So you want your dog to do it, but not enjoy it. You want your dog to go out there and just do something because you said so, because you're the master and it's the slave. That's not the way I want. I want my dog to be my asset, man. I want my dog to be my partner. I want my dog to be my friend. Let me let Chewy out and then hold on just a second.
Yeah. So yeah, please stop. That's a great question. So cause you're gonna find dogs that they don't really like treats. Also, what you're gonna notice too, a lot of dogs that take treats in the house, but when you train them outside, they don't take their treats.
All right, you see this here? Hey, girl, what's up, girl? What's up, girl? You can't see her tail, but her tail is wagging as fast as it can. because this dog loves me. And the reason she loves me is because I invest in her, so she invests in me. I'll use toys, I'll use praise, I'll use food. All these things improve the relationship, and because of that, I get more out of her. So why wouldn't I use those things? And then there are times that I have to use compulsion for a correction and say, no, you're not going to do this. Right. Shut up, knock it off, get out of the way. But because I have that strong investment in her, she accepts those corrections without it destroying the relationship. I'm going to go back to that behavioral bank account thing. Let's say all right, so you can see my hand here at the bottom. It's kind of hard to do on the screen because it's backwards.
I can see it, yeah.
So here's ground zero, right? So I give the dog food. I give the dog toy. I give the dog praise. I give the dog a correction. I give the dog food. I give the dog love. I give the dog toy. I give the dog a correction. I give the dog a correction. I give the dog a correction. I give the dog food. And so what happens is, just like a bank account, as long as I never overdraft is I give the dog a correction. I give the dog a correction. I give the dog a correction. Well, we're back down to zero. Next time I give that dog a correction, it's going to want to go to the neighbor's house. It's going to want to bite me because I've overdraft. When you overdraft, you're going to get a penalty.
Right. Lee, what's your thoughts on positive only trainers?
Well, I do believe in correction. I think there comes a time and a place that you have to use correction. And I need to take Chewy out. She's been in the cage for a long time because, like I said, we had a child over today. My daughter, who's only 10 years old, had a 9-year-old guest over today, and Chewy's been in the cage for hours. So I'm going to ask you to entertain them for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Chewy for a short walk.
So when it comes to positive reinforcement, that's the way that works for me. But the thing about training, a lot of people only looks at training as the way they was taught, and they feel like their way is the best. Some people say, I'm not giving you no treats, no toys. You got to just work for me. And they only use pets and praise, if that, or a lot of trainers still use compulsion in a way, and they real heavy-handed on our dogs, and they may get some success out of that. Me, I like to use a combination of things. I like to start off with the treats, and then I fade the treats out, and then I get to the point where I can do toys. So even while I'm starting with the treats, my new puppy, she's on week 2 of training. I just introduced it down. I've been doing some other little stuff with her. When I do flirt pole training, I reinforce the obedience training. So because flirt poles, they get excited. That's like we was talking about high prey drive dogs is the easiest to train. So all the obedience training, I can reinforce it. I can say, okay, if you want to play with this flirt pole, give me a down, give me whatever it is that they already know, give me a bark command. So now you're introducing the training while they're having fun. As a human, the best way for you to learn as a human is when you're having fun. In school, if it's real boring, it's like you don't even want to be there. But if you got a teacher that's real cool and they make it real interesting, you're going to learn. So that's how it is with dogs. You got to be real fun. If you fun and you fair with the dogs and you firm, because you're going to have I'm trying to tell you, if your dog got high prey drive, they also might have a little bit of resource guarding. So you're going to have corrections. The all positive thing is a gimmick. That's a gimmick, y'all. It's not realistic. It's literally not realistic. Think of it as a human experience. We all got negative things we need to be corrected on. If you take your son into gymnastics at 4 years old, 5 years old, it's certain things they don't know. Their mind isn't developed yet. So you got to correct them. So would you let your son go to a gymnastics teacher that just is only positive? They don't give them no corrections. That's a gimmick. That's fake, y'all. That's like a made up thing. You know what I'm saying? Ripped up. What's happening? Quick question. Why did Lee switch out Ranger for Bam Bell? I'm going to ask him when he come back. When he took Shane Troy out. That's a great question. And I think Troy might be having some pups in her belly with Ranger. So, because Ranger and Makita, Lee got like 6 breeders that's about to come up. Yeah, he did switch up. I'm glad you reminded me of that because I was surprised. I was like, wow. I was looking forward to the because we was talking about Ranger and Choi. We was looking forward to that. But Bam Bam, that's gonna be one of those breedings. It's gonna be one of those breedings where it's gonna be similar to Slam and Banshee, which got Kimura, which Kimura is pregnant right now with Bumper. So it's gonna be the same percentage in a sense. Let me think about it percentage-wise, because you got Slam and Trinity as litter mates, and then you got Bam Bam and yeah. So it's gonna be 100%. So you're gonna have band dogs with 90% pit bull, but it's gonna be interesting to see if these puppies get bigger than. Because shout out to Aaron, he got Ninja. Ninja is not that big; they're like 50-some pounds. Kimura maybe 60. It's gonna be interesting with the band dog, with the Sentinel being the female, which is Trinity, because Trinity probably 80-some pounds compared to Banshee. She's like 55 pounds. Let's see how big these puppies get. So I'm looking forward to it just from a data. I like to be a data nerd when it comes to these American Sentinels. But when Lee gets back, we's gonna ask that. Yeah. So positive only is a gimmick, y'all. And you also got to think of it like this. You're not a bad person if you correct your dog. See, that's where I think a lot of people get nervous from, and they start listening to the internet. They perceive themselves as being a bad person because they corrected their dog. Love comes with corrections. If you really have the goal of seeing your child, whoever it is, reach their full potential, you got to correct them. That's your duty. So if you don't correct your dog, that's actually if I'm gonna go on a limb and say, if you actually don't correct your dog and don't create no boundaries, that's actually a bad thing. You're creating a uncontrollable dog or a person. You gotta correct your dog. You know what I'm saying? So, are you getting on the list for that Banshee? Yeah, that Boomer and Banshee. Yeah, I'm looking for the yeah. You gotta get that Brindle. Shout out to Brandon right there. For those wondering, Brandon. That's my man right there. If you seen that picture right there, that's Grom. Grom is Slam and Biscuit male. He was the runt, and he's around 90 pounds. And I've done a video. I put the video out there on why some dogs become the runt. A lot of times it's just nutrition, because when you got like maybe 10 puppies in that litter, I forget how many it was with Slam. Actually, he has Slam and Biscuit. Yeah, Slam and Biscuit. A lot of times it's genetic, or a lot of times it's just because they didn't have access. In his case, it looks like it's because of the access with food. Because if you the runt and you 90 pounds as a Sentinel, 90 pounds is like bigger than a lot of the even regular males out there. So yeah. Oh, you was 93 pounds? Yeah. So yeah. So that's his runt experience wasn't genetic. He 93 pounds. Yeah, that's big. You gotta get him in conditioning. Yeah, if you get conditioner, once he recover fully, yeah, I'm sure you can get him to about 88, 87. That's the normal sizes for the males right now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the Bam Bam. I think Choi might be pregnant with Ranger puppies. Oh, he's like that too. Yeah, that's what we was talking about. Yeah, if you're not the fam, and that's what and that's what you got to deal with, y'all. It may be an experience, and when you got children, you really got to prepare mentally for these things. And when we speak about it, we just telling you from experience because we have a Sentinel. You know, you might have grew up with pit bulls, so you get a Sentinel. They got the drives of the pit bulls, but then most pit bulls is going to be a little bit more friendly to the public. You know, a lot of these Sentinels is not going to be that way. So you got to take the necessary things to handle them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you can't do it. I just want you to be aware, because it can be frustrating. And you're like, well, then you try to force the dog to do certain things. And then, yeah, you can save yourself a lot of time if you understand that. My pawns, I don't want to correct him hard for wanting to guard. Yeah. Now that's not a problem right there. Yeah, if you want to guard your property, yeah, I'm gonna keep it a bean with y'all. If my dog is barking and on the property and in the car, I don't correct them. Actually, I actually do the opposite. To be really honest with y'all, I actually encourage it, because you want your dog to be a guard dog, right? And like we was talking about, how do you reinforce certain behaviors? How do you imprint your dog? If your dog is showing natural guardian instincts in the car, and you want a guard dog, and then you correcting them, that's confusing to the dog. So if that's what you want, I'm not telling you how to raise your dogs, because we all want our dogs to do certain things. If you want your dog to guard properties, and you got strangers coming up to your car and they barking, and you correct them, that's confusing. You actually you do the opposite. You tell them good boy, good girl, and now they understand that, hey, this is cool. And then you just enforce their behaviors. Lee, you had a person, my man, that's Brandon right there. He got Grom out of Slam and Biscuit. He said he's on a list to get. Are you still doing Boomer and Banshee coming up? He's still gonna be the pit bull. Are you still doing that?
Boomer and Banshee.
Are you still gonna do that? Or are you
not sure. I'm not sure. If I've already got a deposit on it, then I'm locked into it. But unless the person is cool with
I
the
wasn't
spot.
sure who you was taking Banshee. I thought on the thing you said you was taking Banshee to Boomer.
I have definitely thought about doing that. It's something that I intend to do, but I also want to take Banshee to Ranger.
So you might. Oh, okay. But for your full pit. Oh, so you might do that next instead of your full pit.
I don't know which one I'm going to do next. Ranger is really difficult to breed. He likes to scrap, So, you got to get him like within 5 minutes or so, or like the first 5 minutes of introductions. You got to be successful. After 5 minutes, he gets too aggressive. He doesn't want to breed anymore. He wants to just throw down. He was raised without interacting with other dogs because he was a sole survivor.
Right. So Lee, can you mind speaking on that? Somebody had a question. They said, here we go. Right. Ripped Up said, what made you switch from Ranger and Trinity, and now you're doing Bam Bam and Trinity?
Yeah. So Ranger and Trinity is a breeding that I really wanted to do, and Bam Bam and Trinity was a breeding that I wanted to do later. Trinity is a dog that I think I would like to breed her to Ranger. I'd like to breed her to Danger. I'd like to breed her to Bam Bam. Well, she was ready to breed on Mother's Day. And so Ranger, like I said, you got about 5 minutes to breed him. After about 5 minutes, he gets too worked up and he wants to start fighting. Now, I knew I wanted to breed Trinity with all three of those males, but obviously not at the same time. One breeding, and then you wait a while, then on the next heat cycle or later next year, do the other one and whatnot. Well, we wanted to breed Ranger, and he wanted to fight. After like the first couple of minutes, I thought we were going to be successful. He was cooperating and whatnot. But as he gets excited, his aggression comes out. And like I said, he was a sole survivor. So when his mother, Valkyrie, when she had her puppies, she had like 8 or 9 puppies. She had a good sized litter, but she was also like 9 years old. And because of her age, I think she was just not as attentive to the puppies. And within the first 24 hours, definitely within the first 48 hours, she had laid on all of the puppies except for Ranger. And I was like, I'm not going to lose this last one. And so we took Ranger away from the mother and raised him up by bottle feeding him and keeping him warm. So he had no interaction with his mother, and he had no interaction with his litter mates. Well, I made a mistake. The mistake that I made was I didn't let him interact with other puppies and other dogs. I should have done that. Because I didn't do that, he didn't know how to work with other animals, and he became aggressive as he got older, and we found that out, but it is what it is. Now, for those of you that don't know, my mother's 93 years old. I've been helping her with her estate and whatnot, and so I was pretty busy at the time, and that's just the way it is, and I've got to work around that. And but he's a heck of a dog. So, but we switched to Bam Bam because it was Mother's Day. Normally what I would do is, okay, Ranger's starting to fight, I would just put him up. And I'd come back and try again in a couple hours because he would reset. But with being Mother's Day and my mom being 93, I was like, we're already an hour late to my mom's, and it's 100 miles away. So I was like, we're putting him up. I'm doing Bam Bam. After we do Bam Bam, I'll do Ranger on the next heat cycle. And we took off and go visit my mom. And I thought about calling up Ryan and using Danger this time and using Bam Bam later because Bam Bam's young, but it was Mother's Day. I don't want to call Ryan on Mother's Day. So I was like, and plus he just did Maggie, which is a great breeding anyway. So that's Maggie is Trinity's sister. So I was like, Danger and Maggie, let him have success with that, and I'll do Danger and Trinity later on in the future.
So Bam Bam is going to be one of those, another breeding where your first breeding was the highest pit bull percentage with Slam and Banshee, which is Kimura, which is about to have pups with Bumper. So the Bam Bam and Trinity is going to be the same thing, the 90%.
Yeah, it's going to be 90%. But believe it or not, we weighed Trinity today. She actually weighed like 85 pounds, but she was probably had to go to the bathroom. She's kind of fat and bloated looking. So let's just say she was 84, but still probably a little overweight. So let's just say, if she was in good shape, she's probably about 82 pounds. And Bam Bam, I've been saying he's like 53 pounds, but he actually may be bigger than that. I need to weigh him and see what he weighs. But let's just say 50 and 80, just to round it down. That's 130. Take 130 divided by 2 is 65. I would imagine the females will be 55 to 65, which is small. And then the males to be 65 to 75, which is not real big either. But let's look at that bloodline. In that family tree, we have outliers, a lot of outliers that are bigger than average. So Wrecker, 62.5% and 127 pounds. His sire was Boss, who was, 75% and 95 pounds. His sire was Chief, which was 100%. And yet 82 pounds, 100% pit bull. And realistically 78 pounds on my yard. After I sold him, he was 82. So let's just say 78, but very lean. 78, 100% pit bull, very lean. That's giant for a pit bull. From that to Boss to Wrecker. And then from Wrecker, we went to, we got Mystique, who was, and then we got, I'm skipping some generations here. We went from Wrecker to Reptar to Mystique to Patches.
Halo, Reptar to Halo to make Mystique.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the direct lineage. I'm not talking about the outside crosses.
Okay.
So we went from Chief to Boss to Wrecker to Reptar to Mystique back to, and then Mystique was bred to Wrecker to make Patches. So all of those dogs from Chief to Boss to Wrecker to Reptar to Mystique to Patches, all those dogs were big. They were bigger than normal. So I'm hoping that because Patches was Lucky 7, which was also a big pit bull, that we may have a couple of anomalies. I'm not expecting the average to be bigger than normal. I'm expecting the average female to be probably 60, 65 pounds. The average male will be 65 to 75. But I'm hoping I can get an anomaly or two that follows that history of occasionally there's something in there that's throwing bigger than normal. So if I'm looking for like a 70-pound bitch or an 80-pound male, which is not real big, but that's really big for 90% pit bull. So, I'm looking for that individual, and then we'll move forward from that. And, I got that when we did Slam. When we did Slam and Banshee, my bitch, Kimura, she's about 60 pounds, which is not huge, but it's good. She's pretty stout. Let me show you the picture. I don't know if you remember.
Ups with Bumper, y'all. Make sure y'all jump on that. Yeah, based on, since Trinity is about 30 pounds bigger than Banshee, my guess is, but Slam is about 30 pounds bigger than Bam Bam, but Trinity is about 30 pounds bigger than Banshee. So you would think it'd be even, but I'm thinking that since the mother is 30 pounds bigger, that the puppies will end up being bigger. That's just my thoughts. But
I think we're going to have a few in there. I don't think the average is going to be bigger, but I think we're more likely to have anomalies because of there was a couple of anomalies in the Slam Banshee litter. Like, dang it, I don't have a picture of her where you can see her next to.
I thought Kimura was the biggest one.
Kimura is the biggest female, but we had a male named Titus that was real big, or not real big, but bigger. But he didn't have the nerves that I wanted. He had good drive, but he didn't have the nerves I wanted. So it's not that he was a bad dog; he just wasn't good enough.
Right.
So let me find a picture here of. Look, when you produce the number of dogs that I have, and you're limited to 30 animals, and you don't have but just a space or two, you don't have many spaces. You have to make sure that every dog you keep is an ace. So
Cody Way, I think Bacotti is smaller than her sister Banshee. I think she was about 48 pounds or something from what I remember seeing on the website. She about pounds smaller than her.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Nah, he's asking. Brandon is asking how much did Bacotti weigh? Banshee's sister. I think she was about 7 pounds. She's about 7 pounds.
Bacotti was smaller than Banshee, but I don't know if it was 7 pounds.
Okay.
A lot of times I put the information on the website maybe too soon, and the dog's still growing. So Banshee is probably the pit bull bitch. She's probably, what does it say, 56 pounds or so, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Bacotti was probably 52. What does it say on the website, or do you know?
I think the website used to have it like 48. I don't know if she still got her on the website.
So that's Kimura right there. She might be 60 pounds. I don't know.
She looked kind of stout. Yeah, she big. She definitely she the biggest one from I seen from that litter.
And her brother Titus was probably going to be 10 pounds, if not 15 pounds bigger than her. But we got rid of him. We just kept her. And so, but that said, Kimura was the second biggest in the litter, but she was probably just as big as the second biggest male. So Kimura was the biggest female, but the only dog in the litter bigger than her was Titus.
Okay.
And Titus was so much bigger than the next male that I think the next male was probably no bigger and maybe even smaller than Kimura. I don't know. How big is Ninja? I see him in here. Aaron, how much does Ninja weigh?
Yeah,
Ninja's her brother.
I think Ninja's like 50, 55. I think so, what Aaron was saying. How much, Aaron? If he's still in here, probably like 50, 55. Yeah, she just looked bigger than them.
Yeah, she's about 60 pounds, maybe a little over. Ninja got more size, got to weigh him. He's almost 2. Yeah, so sometimes we make a weight when they're younger, and they do add. They can gain 5 pounds. Whatever I had on, but Cody may not have been right. I might have put it up there when she was 14 months old, and then by the time she's 2 years old, she weighs 5 pounds more than that. So yeah, they're about the same size. If he's 60.
If he was 60 last time, then Kimura got to be about 65. Yeah, because it's obviously bigger.
She may not be. She may be 60. That may be right.
Oh, that'd be good. She definitely looked much bigger. So this based on Trinity, because I always thought the bigger the female, the bigger the puppies would be anyways. Trinity being bigger, that'd be crazy if you get a lot of them being 80, 90 pounds. That'd be wow right there. That'd be right there.
Well, you saw also that Patches had a female sister that was, she was giant. Maybe Ryan's in here. He can tell me what he thinks Forsox weighs. I don't know what she weighed. I would guess probably 110. She was a big girl.
Yeah, that's athletic. They super athletic.
Did you remember Forsox, don't you?
Yeah, I was waiting on her, because I remember you tried to breed her, like you was gonna do the Patches. I was waiting for that one. You mentioned that you thought that she might have been better than Patches, in a sense.
Yeah, but we bred her a number of times, and she never had a litter, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So there's a picture of Forsox. That's just a beast, and she's probably like 14 months old in that picture.
Yeah. And that's crazy. Mystique wasn't that big, right? Mystique was like the size of her mom, Halo, right?
Mystique was probably just as tall, maybe not quite as tall, but Devin Gamble's got a daughter off of Mystique, bred back to Justice, I think.
Zena.
And that bitch is big. She's like 100 pounds.
Yeah, Zena.
Yeah, Zena. She's like 100 pounds.
That's the size thing. So a female that's. So Lee, can you mind saying it again? Who's more responsible for the size? It's the combination of the sire and the dam.
Yeah, people think that the female makes more impact. It depends on the genes. It depends on who's carrying the dominant genes. Traits are a combination of different things. There's allelic frequency within the population. There's allelic frequency in the individual, whether they're homozygous or heterozygous, and then there's dominance. And so even like, let's just say you have a female is really consistent in her line, but she's carrying recessive traits. So, like, let's say if you breed a red nose to a red nose, you're only going to get red nose puppies. And you could have a pedigree for 5 generations where every dog in the pedigree is a red nose. Well, you go breed that to a black nosed dog with a black hair. It doesn't matter if his parents were brown or brindle or whatever. When you breed that red nose with that black nose, if that black nose doesn't have any red nose in its family, they're all brown or yellow or whatever, you're not going to get any red nose puppies because red is recessive. So people think that just because you see something a lot, it's dominant. That's not the way it works. And size is a factor by a number of things. It could be growth hormone, how much you have of it. It could be growth hormone when it starts and growth hormone when it stops. You ever met somebody that it like maybe at 10 years old, they were bigger than everybody else?
Yeah.
In high school, that same person was smaller than everybody else.
Yeah.
Why? They had a lot of growth hormone when they were young, but it turned off early. Then you had another person that was higher, taller than everybody else at 10. And then in high school, they were a lot taller than everybody because they had not only had a high amount of growth hormone, but they kept it for a long time. So, and then you have some people with big bones, some people with long torsos but short legs, some people with long legs but short torsos. So when you compound all these things like long legs, long torsos, high growth hormone and growth hormone for a long time and big bones, now you get a giant dog. And so it's these simple rules of you get it from the mother, you get it from the father. No, it doesn't work that way.
So Bam Bam and Trinity, if you get some 100-pound dogs, you wouldn't be surprised?
Oh, I'm not going to get 100-pound dogs. I would be very surprised if I got 100-pound dogs.
But if they taken after Wrecker, and Wrecker was 130.
Yeah, but Wrecker was 62.5% pit, and he was 127. This is 90% pit. So yeah, you're not going to get a 100-pound dog. You might, an anomaly might be 80 pounds. I'm keeping it perspective to the percentage, but I got to finish up one other thing so my words aren't taken out of context.
Go ahead.
When I said people make rules that are too simple, mitochondrial DNA always comes from the mother. The Y chromosome always comes in a boy, always comes from the father. Outside of that simple rule, those two things, males always get their Y chromosome from their father and their X chromosome from their mother. That's the way it works for every male. Every single male individual, dog or human, gets their Y chromosome from their father and their X chromosome from their mother. But they get their mitochondrial DNA like 99% of the time from their mother. And people say, well, they always get it from their mother. Technically, that's not actually true. Sperm very seldom carry mitochondrial DNA, but they can. It's just really, really rare. So 99% or 100% of your mitochondrial DNA comes from the mother, but it is rarely, occasionally possible that sperm have mitochondria. The reason why sperm don't normally have mitochondria is mitochondria provides energy for the cell, and instead of they metabolize sugar into ATP. Well, sperm don't need mitochondria to get ATP because sperm also carry ATP. So they have enough ATP to last them a couple of days, and so they don't need that mitochondria. Think about a mitochondria as kind of like a big battery, right? Or a generator. Well, if you have to carry a generator around, you're going to move slower, and sperm are in a race. Since they're in a race to get to that egg, they're like, I don't want to carry that big generator. I'm just going to use the ATP. Why carry a generator if you already have a battery that weighs a lot less? So the ATP is like a battery of energy, and mitochondria is like a generator of energy. And because of that, sperm usually don't carry the mitochondria because they're in a race to that egg. And if you have a generator, you're going to move slower. If you have a giant mitochondria, you're going to move slower. So the sperm that don't have the mitochondria usually get to the egg first. Now, normally, that's how it works. But what if the sperm were in the female before the eggs were ovulated? Now, all the sperm have had time to get to the destination. So you may have a sperm or a slow sperm that normally doesn't carry mitochondria, it normally doesn't get into the egg, But now that slowpoke is already there, and then the egg was released. Even then, it's so rare that they have it. It's still not even normally used. But every once in a blue moon, less than 1% of the time probably, you can get a little bit of mitochondrial DNA from the father. But it's so rare that it's just easier to say you get your mitochondrial DNA from the mother, because that's the way it normally works. 99.9% of the time.
It'd be funny if you get two males from Belleville and Trinidad and they're 100 pounds. It's gonna be so funny.
Yeah, I don't expect that to happen, but never know.
That's gonna be unbelievable. I don't expect it, but that'd be crazy if it did happen.
Well, let's look at something here. Let me pull up something here that's gonna be pretty cool.
That'd be crazy.
Technically, it's probably, in theory, possible, but no, I would never ever expect it to happen. But I'll show you why it may be possible. I'm going to show you a dog named Pokey, who was a pure sorrels dog. This dog was big. This dog weighed about 80 pounds in real life. He was a pure sorrels dog, biggest sorrel dog I ever saw. Now, my understanding is match weight was 57, supposedly 57 pounds. Some people say that he wasn't matched. Some people say that he was matched. Bert Sorrells called him a champion, I think. Some people said he was a 2-time winner. Some people said he was a 1-time winner. Some people said he was never matched. I believe Bert Sorrells matched the dog. Whether he was a 1-time winner, 2-time winner, or a champion, I don't know, but I've heard from someone else that he was a legitimate 2-time winner. So let's just say he wasn't a champion, that Bert lied about that. All right, if he was a 2-time winner and he was matched at 57 pounds, when I saw this dog, I bred this dog to one of our dogs. Let's see if I can switch this screen. All right, I'm going to remove this from stage. Present it. Let me cancel this. Remove from studio. Yeah. I bred that dog to a female Eclipse. I don't know if you remember Eclipse. Sure, you do.
You bred Pokey to your you bred Pokey to your English Mastiff?
I did. I sure did. Wow. But we didn't have pups off of it.
Wow.
So
wow.
Let's see if I can find it. Now this English Mastiff that I'm fixing to show you, she weighed 150 pounds. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Where is this old photo?
So she was 150. And how much was Captain Skip? About 50, 60?
Yeah, Captain Skip was about 50 pounds.
So Captain,
the guy that, yeah, go ahead. What's up?
Captain Skip was 50 and Eclipse was you said 150?
Yeah.
And then Preacher Man was how much?
Preacher Man. All right, so let me show you a few pictures here. Here is Captain Skip with Eclipse. Now this dog here is 50 pounds and she's 150 pounds.
This is funny, yo. We laugh.
All right.
This is funny.
See how much bigger she is? She's 3 times his size, right?
Yeah.
3 times his size. Let me go ahead and remove that, and then I'll show you Pokey bred with Eclipse. Same dog.
Captain Skip, that was a legendary breeding right there, boy. That's Preacher Man. That same breeding got Preacher, Bandit, and Gator. And Preacher Man, for those who wonder, and Preacher Man is in mostly all these pedigrees.
Where is that picture?
What's happening, man? What's happening? Yeah, I'm trying to build up my channel. I remember nobody used to be in here, so to have 10 people is a great thing. And one day maybe I'll start to have 50, 60. You never know. One thing about the lives I try to do is try to have information, no Jerry Springer stuff, just valuable information that you can use and have an impact. You see Captain Skip like the big Captain Skip. He looked like he's trying to put that picture up there. It's so funny.
Yeah, I cannot find.
You do that. You had to learn that. Like, how did you know to do that? You just learned that in school? Because you know that. I'm going to get done what needs to be done. Nope. I don't know anybody that can breed dogs that are hard to breed like that. Adam, what's up, man? Thanks again for the super chat, man. I appreciate you. Captain Skip was, boy, he was procreating, boy. And you know what? Captain Skip created, you know, Preacher Man, of course, but he created his son Chief, which was an anomaly too. So maybe, like you said, maybe Captain Skip just had it in his DNA to create big dogs.
Well, it goes back to Pokey. So Pokey and Snaps. And now the breeding with Bam Bam and
Trinity
is not going to have, well, it does have Snaps in it. Yes, it does too, because Snaps was behind Wrecker and Wrecker's behind Trinity. So
it's Wrecker 2 times.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
So if I had to guess, Lee, I think you definitely going to have some males. You're going to have some males that's bigger than Trinity. I'm certain of that. And I'm not no geneticist. I'm just basing it on just what I see. Like,
I like to be conservative. I don't like to say what's going to happen.
I'm just guessing. Like, if you got a male that's like 90, that's gonna be crazy. Like, that's gonna be 90% pit bull, 90 pounds. I think it's gonna happen.
Man, I don't know why I cannot find Pokey. I've never had a problem with finding Pokey.
He was a hippo.
Doing my.
Yo, me and Brian, I talked to Ryan. Me and Brian working on some stuff. Brian know his pedigrees. I call him Brian the historian, American Sentinel. He gonna join me one day on a live, and he go way back. He's had his American Sentinels. He go way back since 2007. They're nice from breeding up.
I'm searching my page for Pokey. I know I've got.
In the meantime, you might answer the question. Keaton Temple's dogs. Somebody asked about where does Keaton Temple sell his dog? He usually sell them on your site.
Yeah, he doesn't like to deal with the customers, the public, because people will call you up all the time, and he just asked me to handle his sales, so we do it. All right, I found a picture of Pokey. Now, all right, so let me share this here. Whoops. All right, you're going to say you saw this picture, but just a second. I'll show you another picture here in a second.
I think, hey, Aaron, ask you a question about Reaper.
All right, so that's Pokey there, the picture I showed you a minute ago.
Yeah.
But then here's Eclipse running a treadmill. All right. And then there's Eclipse again. There's Eclipse again. That's Eclipse and Pokey.
Oh, wow.
So if you'll notice, he can get his feet on the ground.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
All right. So he was about an 80-pound dog. She's about twice as big as him. Wow. He's probably 70, 78 pounds or so. Now, he's old here. He's like 9 years old or 8 years old. He's probably 9 years old. This was in 2003. And then there's Eclipse. Oh, that's Captain Skip. Yeah. So compare the size difference between Captain Skip
way bigger,
and Pokey.
Wow.
Completely different.
He probably like 30 pounds bigger than Cat. He looked much bigger. Yeah.
That's Brett Sorrells right there, which is Bert's son.
Oh, that's Brett Sorrells? Oh, okay. We got some history up here. Shout out to you, Lee. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Brett was Bert's son.
Oh, Brett Sorrells.
Now, the reason why I mentioned that to you is let me show you one other thing. I don't want to hold you up and run your show, but you were asking me this question.
Bro. The show is about the people. I just want to have the impact on the people so we can learn and be students. And I appreciate you because, like I say, I don't know.
So if we go to, let me go to page 2 of our breedings because I have not moved it to page 1 yet. All right, let me show you one other thing. We're going to do a screen share again.
Yeah, so we talking about, for those who just coming in, smash a thumbs up. I appreciate y'all on there. We growing the channel. We talking about Lee threw us a curveball. We thought Ranger was gonna be taking the Trinity. He already explained why he did it. He done Bam Bam. For those who don't know, Bam Bam is this American pit bull that's amazing. Look like one of the funnest dogs to have, the protection, whatever. Bam Bam is out of Boomer and Miss Bandit, so she's double Frankie Bop. And last that got a big response. People like that Frankie versus Lucky sell. A lot of people, it's probably gonna end up with like 1,000 views, which to me is, well, if I reach 1,000 views, that's like jackpot. I don't usually get that many, so people like that one. So that's gonna be the fusion. Bam Bam, that's gonna be the fusion with Lucky 7 too. And we just trying to figure out the size of it because July 2024, Slim and Banshee had their puppies, and we were just talking about the size of them. And I always be feeling like if the mother is bigger, then the pups will end up being a bigger size, because you take Bam Bam was a 100% pit bull to a Sentinel she's 80% pit bull, but she's around 85 pounds in Trinity.
Yeah, the one thing that the female does do, a bigger female, is they do make more milk. Okay. So the pups do get off with a better start. The bigger mother can feed them more when they're in the gestation period, like during pregnancy, because she's able to produce more food than a smaller dog, and she's also produce more milk. Okay. All right, so here we got Bam Bam and we got Trinity, but I'm gonna click on the pedigree here, and when I click on the pedigree, let me share this tab instead. We're gonna notice. All right, so she's got Lucky. So here's Trinity.
If you go up the top and zoom in on I think you can make it bigger. If you go to the top of the pedigree.
Let me see what you're at.
You know what I'm talking about? At the top of the pedigree page, you can zoom in a higher percentage. You see?
You're talking about like that?
Yeah, to make it look. Yeah, so we can see it on the screen. Yeah,
right. Yeah. But before I showed you that, I want to look at just her pedigree for just a minute. So can you see my mouse or no?
Trinity is nice size. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to come down here and look at Trinity. So here's Trinity. And you notice that her sire is Lucky 7. Well, Lucky 7 was about a 68-pound dog, right? About 68 pounds. All right. So if we look at his sire was only about 55, 60 pounds, and his mother was only about 50 pounds. But he was one of those anomalies. He was about 20 pounds bigger than his brother. He was 68 pounds. Wow. His biggest brother was probably about 15 pounds smaller than him, which means he's carrying something that the rest of the litter did not carry, right? So I'm going to remember that he's carrying something that not everybody in the litter carried, but he carried it. Also, Trinity's mother is Patches. Patches was a big girl. She weighed probably 95, 100 pounds. I don't know. All right. Now, her father is Ricker. This is the dog that weighed 127 pounds. Her mother is Mystique. She was not a big dog because she was kind of tall, but she threw some big dogs. She was not real thick. You know, she probably only weighed about 75 pounds, maybe 80. I don't know. Maybe Ryan remembers. But she's off of Reptar. And Reptar he's a dog that even in his old age, he's still over 90 pounds. But back then, when this picture was taken, he was probably 105, 108 pounds, something like that. He was a big boy. Right now, he's probably only like 95. He's 11 years old. But his sire was Wrecker. So Wrecker is, again, that 127-pound dog. So we got some big dogs coming through here on this side. That's all Wrecker, right? But then also, if we go from Wrecker's sire, we see Boss. That was that 95-pound dog that was 75% pit. And then his sire was Chief, which was the biggest pit bull I've ever owned in my life. He was 78 pounds, 100% pit bull. And then we have who's Chief's sire and dam. Well, if we click on that, we'll see that Chief was out of Captain Skip, but his mother was Snaps. That was a really big girl. She was a Hammond's bred dog, but she weighed about close to 80 pounds herself. When was the last time you've ever heard? She was at least 75, 78 pounds. When was the last time you heard of a purebred pit bull being that big for a female? Yeah. You don't even hear about that big for a male, much less a female.
Yeah.
So my point of that is there's big dogs running through this pedigree. And since there's big dogs running through the bottom side of this pedigree, and there's some big dogs running through the top side of Trinity, then Trinity can throw those anomalies. I don't expect it to happen every time, but it can happen. And then Bam Bam, the reason I mentioned Pokey is let's look at Bam Bam's pedigree. So if we come up here and we look at
before you get into that one, I just wanted to let you guys know from the Danger and Trinity breeding, which is triple Wrecker, double Lucky 7, there is a male out there that's over 100 pounds, y'all. Just so y'all know. That was from Danger. Danger is 80. He bigger than Bam Bam, but I'm just letting y'all know that it was a male out there that's 100 pounds. But go ahead, Lee.
All right. So when you go to my website, if you pull up a pedigree, you may have to create an account to use some of these tabs, but I have an account. I have an admin account where I can enter dogs and whatnot. These tabs here are nice. So if there's ever something here that you want to see and you can't see it, send me a message and say, hey, Lee, can you go to so-and-so's page and click on the line breeding tab? So we're going to do that with Bam Bam. I'm going to go right here and click on line breeding. And what line breeding is going to do is going to take me to this page here. Now, on this page, we're going to look at who are the influencers to Bam Bam. So this is Bam Bam, and these are the ones that influenced him. We're going to come over here to this percentage of blood and scroll over. Well, this is how much Frankie Bop is actually influencing Bam Bam. Mm-hmm. But there's another number over here called AGR. Mm-hmm. So the percentage of blood is kind of like it's not coefficient of relationship. There's three numbers. There's there's blood percentage, then there's coefficient of relationship, and then there's AGR. The coefficient of relationship is percentage of blood adjusted for the inbreeding. So it's usually going to show a higher number than the percentage of blood. The AGR does the inbreeding equation, but then prorates it. So the dogs that are closer in the pedigree are going to have a greater impact than the dogs that are further back. Okay. Well, if we look here, you can see that the AGR for Frankie Bop, even though Frankie Bop is only 50% genetically the influencer of Bam Bam, he's actually responsible for 61% of his DNA. So this is a really cool tab to look at. Wow. Now, when you go to this website defaults where percent blood is in descending order. But if I want to look at this in descending order, it looks like it's descending, but it's not. So here you go from 23 to 18 and back up to 22. So if you want to make this descending order, just click here and it's going to put it in increasing order, and then click again and then it'll be in descending order. So now we can see the impact on Bam Bam in descending order. So what I'm going to do now that I've done that is I'm going to come over here and look for Pokey, Sorrel's Pokey. There he is right there. He is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th dog in the pedigree. Now, remember, this dog was about 80 pounds, right? 78 to 80 pounds. So what number was he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6th dog. So now we're going to go back over here and see how much of an influence Pokey is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So almost 1/4, more than 1/5 of Bam Bam's genetic influence is coming from that big dog. So that's kind of an important number.
Wow. Okay.
All right. So what we can do here now is let's go back to the Bam Bam Trinity breeding, and let's do the same thing. We're going to look at the line breeding stats, and then we're going to come over here and click on this twice. Once it's going to be descending, and the second time it's going to be ascending. All right. Now we're going to look and see what are the big dogs in this pedigree. Well, Frankie Bop is not a big dog, but this is for Bam Bam and Trinity. Frankie Bop is going to be over 25% because his percent blood is 25%. But let's see what his actual influence is. 25% is AGR is actually 30%. So he's almost a third of the genetic contributing factor. So this is something that when you look at these people that like Frankie Bop or Lucky 7, did you even look at this? Look at some of the best working dogs. And the reason why I like Frankie Bop better than Lucky 7, Lucky 7 has some really good dogs out there. Danger's a great dog. Maggie's a great dog. The problem with that was Lucky 7 had some dogs. He had more dogs that were not so great. Frankie Bop, we did not have a lot of puppies off of because we bred him to older females. But I don't know anybody that got a Frankie Bop dog that didn't work. They all freaking work. So that's why I like Frankie Bop so much.
Now, Lee, what does AGR stand for? What's the acronym for?
All right. So AGR stands for
aggregate or something.
It's what does AGR stand for? What it is it's a relationship. It's the percentage of blood adjusted for inbreeding coefficient adjusted for prodent braiding in the pedigree. So what it actually stands for.
Can you, to make it easy for us, if a dog is, if a breeding has a Sentinel breeding, if it's like 4 times Justice and 3 times Wrecker, that would be a high AGR. Like that's
yes,
I'm trying
yes.
to understand. Okay,
and that's what I was just fixing to show you. So the first influencing factor here is Frankie Bump. Wrecker is the second influencing factor in this breeding. Even though when we look at the pedigree, you got to go back a few generations. He is actually the second contributing factor. So let's go look over here and see that he's actually responsible for 23%. Almost 1/4 of the pedigree is, even though genetically it looks like according to the pedigree he would only be 50%, because of the inbreeding that was done on Wrecker, his coefficient of relationship would be higher than 15%, probably about 18 to 20%. But by the time you prorate that based on his closeness in the pedigree, his actual adjusted genetic relationship, maybe that stands for, it's not adjusted genetic relationship, but that makes sense, is he's actually 23%, which is, it's like equivalent to being a grandfather almost, because 25% would be a grandfather, right? That's why Frankie Bump's 25%, is because he's a grandfather. His percentage of blood is 25%, but his AGR is 30%. Well, Wrecker's not a grandfather, but he almost has the same influence as a grandfather because of the inbreeding in this pedigree behind Wrecker. So now let's go back and look at it, and we're going to see that in the pedigree, that where is Wrecker? Well, Wrecker is in, he's a great grandfather, and he's a great, where else is he? He's a great, he's way, where is he?
Great, yeah.
Right here. So Wrecker's in here, and he's in here. So even though this would only give him 12.5%, and this would only give him like 3% more, that's only 15%, but yet he's contributing 25%. He's contributing as much as a dog right here in the pedigree. So that means I have a chance of actually producing more size than you might think I would produce.
Right.
How many people know that? You know, not very many people are going to consider that. Now, with this said, I don't expect the average dog to be bigger than normal, but I do expect an occasional anomaly to pop up. So I'm looking for that anomaly that's going to have some decent size. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Let me get to their questions, but I have a question that I want to ask you as well. Let me see. My man,
can I leave this page? Can I close this page?
Yeah, close it out. Yeah, you can close it out.
All right.
CPK Pitbull Kennels 4461. Thanks for joining us. He said, does the poor or weak nerves apply to tolerance, threshold, or skittish? What's your thoughts on that, Lee? I don't do the skittish. That skittish stuff, like,
yeah, I never really, the skittishness was not an issue. It was more like the lack of ability to learn quickly. The lack of ability to adjust quickly.
Yeah.
Or tolerance, maybe tolerance. Like you put them in a vehicle the first couple of times, they're like a little worried about it. They're not skittish. They're just not comfortable in every environment. I want a dog that's comfortable in every environment, you know?
Yes, yeah.
And a lot of that can be overcome by exposing them earlier. I was going to tell you something else. I thought about this when I was outside. You know, you like nerves more than drive. I like drive more than nerves, as long as the nerves are good enough. I think there's another factor why I'm that way. And that's because if I have a dog that's not crappy nerves, I don't want to deal with crappy nerves. It's too much work. But if a dog has less than perfect nerves, but has got so much drive, I find it pretty easy for me personally, maybe it's my experience, to help a dog work through things. Like, remember that dog that was nervous because that transporter abused it? And I was like, you know what I'm saying? I reminded the puppy. I gave the puppy
the spider example was funny though. What you said about overcoming things with the spider in the mailbox and
right. So I know
good. A lot of people don't know how to do that.
Yeah, maybe that's why it doesn't bother me so much, because I know how to do that.
Right. A lot of people don't do that. They panic and then they end up reinforcing the scared behavior.
Right.
Out of them and they start baby and then now the dog starts acting like that because you reinforce that behavior.
Right. You gave it a security blanket.
Yeah. You got to be real careful. You got to make like just you can't be too reactive on there. What you got in store for Scratching Onyx Hannibal? Says asks Brandon. He's kind of young, right? Is he
too young? Yeah, he's too young. No, he's not a year. He's probably like
almost a year.
7 months old.
Oh yeah, he was
6 months old.
Yeah, they not that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's about 6 months old, maybe at most 7. I don't think he. I don't think he's. I don't even think he's.
They probably was born in September. They probably about 8 months now. If they was born in September, I can't remember. I have to look. Oh, that's what it stands for. Okay, adjusted generation regression. Okay, use estimate ancestral. Oh, okay, so good. Shout out to CPK. Okay, are you a breeder, CPK? Somebody asked me earlier. I don't know if y'all watching the live. They asked me, was Sorrels and Chinaman a good? I had to ask Lee because I told you I'm building my knowledge up on pit bulls. I'm not gonna lie and start talking about pit bulls and make it. I don't know about pit bulls, but Lee said that's a solid combination of all cross Chinaman to Sorrels.
Yeah, it does. I mean, Chinaman is just Boudreaux, and Madison and Skip Parker. Madison ran Sorrel's blood. Skip Parker ran Sorrel's and Boudreaux. And so we know the Sorrel's-Boudreaux combination worked because Skip Parker ran it, and he wouldn't have ran it if it didn't work. So with Chinaman being heavy Boudreaux, I would imagine Chinaman would work fine with Sorrel's.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The easiest way to think of like adjusted generational regression, that's what it stands for. I just keep in my mind that it is, it's basically coefficient of relationship prorated based on proximity in the pedigree. The closer it is, basically it's adjusting the closer ancestors to have a greater impact than the ancestors further back. And it does that by looking at the coefficient of inbreeding combined with the coefficient of relationship.
I'm glad you brought it up. I never even noticed that. I usually don't go to that part right there. I'm going to start looking at it because I definitely got an account. For those who don't got an account, make sure y'all, it's a good way to, look at different pedigrees of all different breeds, and it's free. And it's a great way. You can look at the Sentinels if you, because I'm gonna start doing my my pedigree analysis too. I gotta see which ones see which ones to do. I haven't done it in a while. I like to break down the pedigrees.
Hey, who is this CPK CPK APBT Kennels? Good job.
Yeah. Just a generation regressing, yeah.
Yep. All right. Somebody else had a question also earlier. What was that?
I think they asked about he asked about the threshold nerves. He asked about that. He also asked, he said his Reaper is the same size as Ranger. She probably as tall as him, it seemed like.
She's just as tall, but she's not as heavy. No. She's probably only about, what do you think she weighed? You saw her. You think she was 80? You think she's 80 pounds?
78, 77, 78.
Yeah, probably high 70s because she's kind of lean. She's pretty lean.
She real lean, and yeah, she real lean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you how big is Ranger? About 90 something?
Ranger's solid. I mean, he's not a giant dog, but he's solid. He's probably got to be. He's over 90.
He bigger than his brother. He bigger than his brother Cobalt.
Half brother, but yeah, he's bigger than his half brother.
Okay, go ahead.
He's probably bigger than Reptar now that Reptar's old, and Reptar's 90.
It really, every time we talk about Reptar, his weight get lower and lower. He started off.
Well, he's an old man. What do you?
A couple years ago, Reptar was like 120, and now Reptar went from 120.
No, Reptar was never 120. Not Reptar. He was maybe 108 at his peak.
I think your website, I swore it used to be. I wish your old website when I first learned about you, Reptar, I think was 120.
Well, let's see. Let me show you something here. Let's see. I hope I can find it. Let me try Facebook real quick.
Yeah, it's all good. So just to give you guys a recap, the question is on there, I said it's microchipping. Me, I don't think microchipping. I don't want none of my dogs to be microchipped, and I think it's like I don't want to call it a scam, but it's not needed. Like if somebody gonna steal your dog, they just gonna steal it. It's really no benefit. You know, if you're gonna get something, get a GPS collar. There's different ones out there. You can track your dog. You can be, a lot of them is national in the US, and some of them I believe go international. So you can always track your dog. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Adam. How much does Congo weigh? Congo looked like he looked like Elsa. He looked like his sister.
He's
Elsa.
small. You know, he's only about 70 pounds.
He only big 70 pounds. Yeah, he's not that big. Reaper is definitely bigger from what I've seen. Reaper is bigger than him.
Yeah, Congo's bred out the ass. He's got a great pedigree.
Yeah, so the Congo Reaper.
All right, here it is. Here it is. Let me show you this picture here.
Thanks again, Adam. I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna just put this is my estimate. Lee know more about the dogs than me, but this is my guesstimate. I think some males is gonna be in the 90s. That's just what I'm thinking. They're gonna be bigger than their mom. That's just my guesstimate.
Share that photo. All right, now.
Eastwood?
Yeah, Clint Eastwood. Look how much he's shrunk.
That is true, yeah.
He's 96 years old, 97 years old. He's not a big man anymore. He's a little man. But that's what's happening to Reptar. Reptar is still healthy. He's still active.
He just gets small. Okay.
He's lost his muscle tone. You know, he's shrinking. I used to be 6 foot tall, and now I'm probably like 5'11". I don't even know, but I mean, I used to wear a size 12 shoe. Now I'm not. Now I'm wearing like an 11 and a half. It's like, well, I didn't know my foot would shrink. I knew I would shrink, but I didn't know my foot would shrink.
Yeah, that's maybe.
I need to start exercising and get active, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got the Bam Bam. Any other breed? Lee, do you mind talking about Biscuit and Cobalt?
Oh, they're just puppies. They're only like what, 10 days old, maybe 2 weeks old.
We want to know this type stuff. You know, we like Sentinel nerds. So go ahead. How many males was it?
There's 2 males and 3 females. They're all black. She actually had like 9 puppies, but we had a storm that night. You remember all the rain we've had lately?
Yeah.
We had a storm that night. I didn't know she was having her puppies. Normally, I'll hear them having puppies because when the puppies are born, they go, ee, and I don't hear that. But when the other dogs hear that, they'll bark. And when they bark, I go, what's going on? So I go out there and see what's going on, and I know I have puppies. Well, we were having storms, rain. Well, the next morning I went out there, and there was like 2 or 3 puppies in the kennel that weren't in the doghouse. And they were 1 or 2 of them were still in the sack. And I was surprised because Biscuit was a good mother last time. But so we lost a couple of puppies that were in the sack. And then we had one that just didn't make it. And then, so we had 6 puppies and they were doing good. But the first night she laid on 1. And so we were down to 5. So
that's one thing I noticed about Cobalt. Cobalt be producing on black.
Oh yeah. The ones that died, they were fawn.
Oh wow. So they gone.
And it was just, and it had nothing to do with the color. They were in the kennel. They were born in the kennel. Instead of being in the doghouse, they were in the kennel. So they got cold, they got wet and rained on, and they were still in the sack. You know, they can't breathe if they're in the sack because she didn't open the sack. Yeah. Somebody asked me earlier if I was going to add any more Mastiff. No, I'm done with that. I don't like the big dogs.
Yes. Don't ask Lee about Mastiff, y'all. He ain't gonna say no.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm trying to make a breed. I'm not trying to do F1 crosses all the time.
Will you breed Fury to Biscuit because there is some of the Preacher Man blood through some of your best producers for the future? Now that's a different question.
Yeah, I don't plan on doing that. And Fury's a great dog. Biscuit's a great dog. But whenever I do a breeding, I try to make sure I don't ever breed 2 dogs that have the same fault. And they both are cowhocked. And so I don't want to stick them together. I think Fury's a great dog, and I think Biscuit's a great dog, but I want to make sure that if I breed to him, I want to breed him to a dog that has perfect conformation, and when I breed her, I want to breed her with a dog that has really good conformation. So you don't ever want to put the same fault with another dog that has the same fault. Even if that fault is not a big deal, you don't want to do it twice.
Right. Makes
I mean,
sense.
Reptar's cowhawk. That dog's 11 years old and still the dog can still jump in a pickup truck. I mean, he's 11 years old. He's lost his muscles tone. Dog can still jump in a pickup truck. So don't think that cowhawk means bad hips. A lot of people think that's the way it works. That's not the way it works.
It's funny to see that I'm not the only person that. It's amazing what the internet has brought us. It brings us closer together because y'all thinking the same way as me. I asked if microchip accessible to owner a company because if I can't open an app to follow GPS, it's like data collecting on animals. That's exactly what we was talking about earlier. If you rewind it, that's what it is. Like, what's up, bro? It's almost like a scam, bro. It's almost like a scam.
It's not almost a scam. It is a scam.
It is a scam, yeah. Ranger treating, breeding, and feature. Ranger is like, Ranger is like, would you consider Ranger extreme as far as his aggression to animals? Would you consider him extreme?
He's very animal aggressive. Yeah, Frankie Bomp was that way. That's the one fault of Frankie Bomp descendants. But I don't know if Ranger gets that because of Frankie Bomp or if he gets it because he was the one that was only one that survived and he wasn't socialized. In the pit bulls, Frankie Bomp's dogs are very animal aggressive. In the Sentinels, Nova's fairly animal aggressive. You know, I wouldn't say she's a slouch in any way. She definitely would want to dance with another dog, but Ranger's that way. But Cobalt is more social. Cobalt, he might be aggressive with a male because I've never allowed him around a male, but with a female, he's cool.
The Ranger is male and females. Yeah.
So Bam Bam is hard to breed. I'm glad I bred him kind of young because he's only like a year and a half old, and he's already been bred twice just recently. And well, the first time I bred him, he was probably like 14, 15 months old.
Yeah.
The second time I bred him was just now, and he's probably 18 months old.
Yeah.
I'm glad I bred him because if I would have waited till he was 2 or 3, he might have just wanted to fight like Ranger. Because right now, he kind of, if you don't let him see the female's face, like you keep her face pointed away, Bam Bam will breed. But if she looks at him, he wants to tag him.
Oh wow.
He's about that life. And I think Ranger may be that way because of Frankie Bomp, but he might be that way just because he wasn't socialized. It's hard for me to say on the Sentinel.
Brandon, great question, y'all. Y'all be coming with the questions. Congo, what you think you'll get from Congo and Elsa? That's that double halo breeding, half sibling breeding. What you think?
Yeah, I should probably just keep my website up to do screen share once in a while. So, and this is turning into a commercial. I hate to do.
It's not a commercial because we all participate. It's not like you're doing it. We want to hear from you. So it's like,
yeah, I appreciate it. That's cool. That's cool.
Because we like Sentinel nerds. It's an exclusive breed. It's not like you can. It's not like it's a Labrador Retriever. It's like
right. I get you. Well, I say commercial because the easiest way for me to show you is to pull up my website. And I hate to pull up my website, but I think
they want to know from your own personal feelings about what you think.
Yeah, and so I'm going to show you how I make my decisions. Can you see my website now?
Yeah, I brought it up.
All right, so if we look at her, she's a high prey, high rank, and high defensive dog that's very athletic. He is a prey-driven and fight-driven dog that's very athletic, probably not as much defense, but very high fight and very high prey. He's probably a little weaker in the nerves than some, but this is the dog I did nothing with. He was like that girl that we talked about earlier, raised in a closet. The dog was in a kennel for a year and a half. All right. So that's on me. And I hate to make excuses because I don't believe in making excuses, but I do. There's a difference between an excuse and a reason. A reason is for why something is what it is, and an excuse is why something is what it's not. And I know I don't want to say it's an excuse that he would have good nerves because that's talking about what's not. We don't know what would happen if I could go back. So excuses are not good, but reasons on why he may have some issues. I'll find out by working the dog. And I don't believe in being dishonest with people. I'm an open book. I know that I need to work on him, but I can tell you this dog's drive and this dog, like prey drive and fight drive and athleticism, is outstanding. The only thing he needs to work on is his nerves, so I'm going to work on that and take him out and do some stuff with him. He's been in a kennel for 18 months, and it's on me, or 2 years, however old he is, 2 years now, and I'm taking him out, and he's progressing very, very nicely. I mean, the difference between his first and second and third session in protection work was very rapid. The dog's learning good, which tells me that his nerves are probably okay. I just need to do my job. Now, if he was not progressing, then we'd have a problem. But because he's progressing so rapidly, I think, Jalik, next time you see him, I think you're going to be very impressed with how much work, how far he's come in just a few sessions. This dog's drive is great. But anyway, what I was going to say here is let's click on the pedigree. And Elsa's drives are awesome as well. So I'm on the pedigree now, and we're going to go to that line breeding stat. You can look at this and kind of get some of it. But if you look at Congo, he's off of Vicious and Halo. Halo is the best producing bitch that I've probably had in a long, long, long time.
Not better than Onyx.
Yeah, better than Onyx. I don't know, but I've never gotten a bad litter off of Halo. Every litter off of Halo was good. Onyx did not breed too well with Congo. Cobalt. I didn't like those a lot. And when we bred Onyx to Reptar, I didn't like those a lot. Some of those dogs were good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as consistent. Halo has always produced great. And here's the other thing. Her mom, Valkyrie, always produced great. Her mom, Blue Jean, always produced great. Her mom, Lynn, always produced great. So we have a very strong lineage of females here coming into Congo. That same dog and Elsa, exact same lineage on the bottom side. Halo, Valkyrie, Blue Jean, Lynn. So we have some really good dogs coming in to Congo, the Elsa combination. Now on the top side, we've got Onyx, which you said was probably your favorite female, I'm guessing, or one of them. Good producer. The only dogs that I bred her to that I wasn't super fond of was probably her and Reptar. Reptar produced not so good with Onyx. Guess who Reptar produced excellent with? Boom, Halo. So when you have a dog that produced good with this bitch, but not so good with this bitch, even though this dog has produced some really, really good dogs, that tells me that Halo was probably a better producer. Even though Onyx was a good producer, this was a great producer.
Not to debate with you though, Leo, but if this was a debate, I gotta come back at you with this one though, Lee. Onyx, not only did she produce great with Sentinels, she also produced great with non-Sentinels. You got a double Onyx breeding, so that kind of evens it up right there. You feel me? Because Onyx can breed with Tango with Luis's dog. Yeah,
Tango was a half Sentinel. He was half Sentinel, but it was a Sentinel that honestly.
Well, that's why I say Onyx.
And I don't know if you hear me sigh. I don't know. Could you hear me sigh?
I don't want to get off this. I don't want to get off the subject, but I think Onyx is a great producer. Hopefully,
I think Onyx is a good producer. That's not it. That's not what I was sighing about. Tango was off of his mother. All right, so Tango was off of his sire was a dog named Mango. Mango was like I think American Bully crossed with a Bull Mastiff, and so that part right there is not American Sentinel. And I don't know that I heard good things about that dog, so I'm not trying to disrespect that dog. But the Blue Jean, the other side of the dog, Tango's mother, that comes from my yard, and I have a right to speak what I think about my production. That dog's mother was Blue Moon, not Blue Jean. Everything off of Blue Moon I culled because even though Blue Moon was a pretty good dog, her level of production wasn't where I wanted it to be. And so you could say, well, if Onyx produced good with that, then Onyx is a good producer because she produced good with a dog that was produced by a dog that you culled. And I hear you, and that makes sense. And I I think that's great. But I can tell you this, Halo and Valkyrie, in my opinion, outproduced her. Okay, I think Onyx is a great dog, but she produced really good with pit bulls. She produced really good with pit bulls. Yeah. And she produced good with some Sentinels. She produced great with Scratch. Ladysmith was probably my favorite female of all time.
Your favorite. Well, Ladysmith is your favorite Sentinel all time female, right? And that's
Onyx. Right. That's what I just said. Yeah. That's what I just. Yep. Ladysmith was my favorite female of all time, except for one area: her ability to produce. I didn't. Ladysmith was she was a beast, but her puppies weren't as good as her. And then
Ladysmith.
Yeah, we bred Ladysmith.
You really bred her to Bumper, you bred her to Vlad, and you bred her to her dad, right?
I bred her to her dad.
Bumper.
Yeah, but see, I had a dog named Anvil. If I remember correctly, wasn't he off of Ladysmith, or am I getting? No, that was off of that was Reptar Halo. That was Reptar Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was the dog that I kept?
Ladysmith. Yeah, I don't know.
I got rid of them, so I don't remember the names.
One for Scratch because I remember he was kind of small, like Anvil, ironically, and he was just a little too small. I think it was from Scratch, and that's why I think you're getting it mixed up because you had Scratch and Onyx, and the puppy was kind of small, and you said because I looked at the video, and then you end up getting rid of him, yeah, and that was to her dad, but maybe that's because this her dad, but
yeah, and so. For anybody that's hearing me talk about the negatives, hurdles are going to happen. It's going to happen. If you put dogs on the ground, it's going to happen. The breeder that never has a negative is a liar. And so negatives are going to happen. And the thing is, I can say that the program is doing really well. If I could find a buyer of my pit bulls for $100,000, I'd sell all my pit bulls and just expand the Sentinels.
You got a pit bull program that's years down the line, 100,000.
Yeah,
100,000. You might as well go ahead and then get all them pit bulls. You giving up Bam Bam Lee?
I hate to do it. I might have to stick him a couple more times. Get some semen collected.
100,000, not including Bam Bam.
No, I can't do that. I'd have to get him collected because Frankie Bomp and Bam Bam, Boomer, those dogs are going to throw some. I got Frankie Bomp semen stored for 5 breedings, and the Sentinel program now is to a point that I really want to focus on the Sentinels. But when you have a pit bull program like what I have, there's nobody in the world that's got 10 pit bulls that are Sorrells dogs that you can keep the line going for the next 20 years. I'm the only program in the world that can do that.
Wow.
Everybody else would have to outcross because they don't have it, or they'd have to buy a dog from me or somebody. Some people have 1 or 2, Sentinel or Sorrells dogs, but they don't have 10 Sorrells dogs.
Yeah, y'all see that 100,000. 100,000. I might need to buy all of them from Lee for 100,000. Yeah, Lee is dead serious too. Lee did serious. Have you heard about that dog? I think it's a new creation. It might be 2nd generation or 3rd. It's the Boar's Hound. I think the guy's in Canada. You seen it? He kind of looks. It looks like a Doberman mixed with Pit. It's just an early creation.
Is it a lot of them are black or chocolate?
I believe so. Yeah, they got a nice look to them. Yeah, I don't know.
They're in Canada.
Yeah, in Canada. Yeah, Boris.
Yeah, I've seen them. They kind of look like they kind of look like a Donovan Pinscher, not a Doberman, a Donovan.
Yeah, Donovan Pinscher. Yeah. Those they look nice though. Hopefully they like I said, it's not easy. Hopefully they ascend to doing great.
I'm being arrogant here. I don't think there's a band dog program in the world that can do what we have. I just need to do more training. But anyway, let me go back to this pedigree, and I was going to tell you what I was going to say about it. Let's click on the line breeding stat, because I talked about it being 2 times Halo, But let's look at the AGR on it. So we're going to click on this twice.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you'll see that even though Halo is only 50% of the blood, she's actually 59% of the contribution. So that's really, so you're talking about a pedigree that is 60% my favorite producing female.
Okay.
And then 46%, what's this? What's this 46%? 46% Justice. Who was the ROM of the program?
Justice, yeah.
Who's the next ROM?
Preacher Man? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we got the top 3 of the top producers of all time are the major contributing factors in this combination.
Wow.
So some people can say, well, you know, I don't know if I like him as much as I do some of these other. I'm telling you, this is going to be the most underrated dog I have right now, because I think that dog's not only bred really well, but I know he's got high fight drive. I know he's got high prey drive. I know his athleticism is through the roof. You know, but he looks kind of like a female. He's only like 70 pounds. He doesn't have the big head that some people like, but so what? You know, I'm talking about Congo. I thought I was screen sharing, but I wasn't screen sharing. My bad.
Adam wants to know, what's the oldest a Sentinel has lived? Great question. Adam.
15.
15?
I know one. I know one named 15 because Keaton had one name that was 15, and then I had one a male. He made it to at least 15. He may have made it to 16. There was a woman that was on Naked and Afraid. Yeah, she was on that Naked and Afraid show. She bought a dog off from us, and that dog was like 15 or 16 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, we basically, just to recap, I don't like microchipping. If you're a breeder, I know you probably like they don't change your breeding policy, but let the buyer decide if they want to microchip their dog. That will make your, you know, because I know in your mind you're thinking that you're protecting your thing, it's your litter, but we already seen it's a scam. It's not, they can't really, it's not GPS. So, and then poor nerves, Leah break it down like it takes a higher level of nerves to do protection work or sports than it does to do predator defense work or hunting pigs.
Right.
So always keep that in mind if you're talking about nerves. And I love nerves. And if I got a dog, a prey giant, and just to say that right there, like,
it takes a higher degree of gameness to do hogs, but a higher degree of nerves to do protection work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point right there. You didn't break down the AGR, Lee. You got us on a new stat right now, Lee. You gotta bring the AGR up, but you should have never told us about that. Now that you think my pedigree breakdown, now you gonna think I went to college. You gonna think I went to college.
You watch. You know, I was gonna do a video about it, and I never have. I never have done a video on AGR.
Hey, what's the name? What it mean again? Let me find that. Shout out to my man CPK Pit Bulls. He said it. He said what it
aggregate
meant.
Genetic regression.
Adjusted generation regression. Yeah.
Adjusted generation regression.
Generation regression for Congo and Elsa AGRs.
All right, so you can share that screen.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to pull up the AGR. We're going to go to this page, click on line breeding. Now, I wish this website gave you coefficient of inbreeding or coefficient of relationship. It doesn't do that. It just shows you percent blood, and it should have, in my opinion, it should have coefficient of relationship. It doesn't have that. So if this is 25 and this is 30, then, oops, let me click on this twice. That puts it in order from highest to lowest. So if this is, hold on, I'm on the wrong dog. I'm on the wrong dog.
I'm a Trinity, yeah, you're not on there. Yeah. Oh, maybe you did bring the AGR, I just forgot, yeah.
Congo Elsa.
Congo Elsa. Yeah, Congo, yeah, I like Congo. He looked just like Elsa, to be honest. I mean, they sisters and brothers.
All right, so inbreeding, and then we're gonna look over here, and you can see it's not in order. It looks like it's in order. It decreases, 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 decreases.
Well, that one's in order.
I may have already double tapped it.
Well,
No, it's not. No, it's not. See how it goes 6403? So it's not in order. It's not in order yet. So we're going to double tap that number. So this puts it in descending order. Now it's in increasing order. So now it's going to be in order. The number's going to go down as we go down. Okay. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at any dog that's basically, all right. So this is anything that's below 12.5% is going to be less than 1/8. So the parents are a half, the grandparents are a fourth, the great grandparents is 1/8. So that's in the direct relationship. But with the AGR, it's going to be higher than that if inbreeding has occurred. So basically, 11 is close to 12.5. It's not quite 12.5, but this is basically equivalent to being a great grandparent, and then 25% is equivalent to being a grandparent, and then 50% is equivalent to being a parent. So even though Halo is actually a grandparent, she actually has more influence than a parent.
Wow.
So that's why that's Halo right there. Because she's a grandparent twice, but because the inbreeding that's happened in her pedigree, she's actually having more impact than the parents. So you want a Halo bred dog, then you get a Congo Elsa pup.
Lee, you know what? We done that one. Adam actually wanted Congo and Reaper because that's the female he getting. Congo Reaper AGR.
Yeah.
Are you able to bring
is that the pedigree that he wanted me to break down?
I don't know why, because I got confused because somebody else said Congo Elsa. And
okay, so we'll look at Congo. We'll look at Congo and Reaper.
Yeah.
So I'll click on Congo. After I click on Congo, I'll click on Offspring. That's going to take us to Congo Reaper right here.
Yeah.
And then from there, we're going to go to line breeding. Then I'm going to zoom in, come over here, and we're going to tap this twice. And so now it's in descending order. We're going to come over here and look, and we've got Halo, Valkyrie, Justice, Preacher Man, Blue Jean. Oh, look at that. All of those dogs are freaking great. All right. Look at that right there. Halo, Valkyrie, Justice, Preacher Man, Blue Jean, Captain Skip, and Shadow. Sailor. Oh, my goodness. I mean, this is just loaded with great dogs. All right. So let's just take it right there. All of these dogs right here in this pedigree are phenomenal. Let's scroll over and we'll see 50% pretty much, 43, 37. All right. So more, about half, this is going to be 7/16. This is going to be about 3/8. This is going to be more than 25%, more than 25%. Now we're a little bit less than a fifth. Now we're down to almost an eighth, a little bit more than an eighth, excuse me, and then 10%, and then less than 10%. So
Congo, that's his niece, right? That's his niece, right?
Congo,
because that's his.
You're talking about
Congo was.
You're talking about Reaper being Congo's niece?
Yeah, because that's his sister's daughter.
Why is Ranger not showing up? Let me refresh this page. It's not showing up.
That's his niece because Congo because Congo.
Yeah, that's his niece. That's his niece.
Yeah.
Well, it's a half niece. It's not a full niece.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, we just say niece and nephew, even if it's a half. Okay, let me ask you this, Lee, because I'm learning, Lee. My DNA game is getting better. I'm sounding more confident, right? So, half siblings share 25% DNA typically. Full siblings share 50%. Nieces and nephews and aunts and uncles, that relationship is like 25%, almost the same equivalent to half siblings. Am I correct?
Right.
So how is it a half niece and nephew?
All right, so that'd be 12.5%. And the reason it's the half niece is because they have the same. So let's look at his mother is Halo.
Yeah.
And her mother's Halo. Hold on, let's see. All right, so Halo was bred to Vicious to make that dog. It's actually more than a half niece because Justice right here is also seen in here. Justice is behind Onyx. So even though Justice is not, so we bred Justice to Halo. Here we did not breed Justice to Halo, but we did breed her to Justice's grandson. So it's more than a half niece. It's if it was Justice and Halo, dang, it keeps doing that. Good gracious, this is annoying. So if it was Justice and Halo, then that would be his niece. But it's not Justice Halo, because see, Justice Halo here, that would make him and her full siblings, right? But they're not full siblings because she's out of Justice and Halo, and he's out of Halo and Vicious. But Vicious is Justice's grandson, so it's more than a half niece, but less than a niece.
Right. Yeah.
So it's probably going to be the coefficient of relationship with them. If that was his niece, the coefficient of relationship with them would be 12.5. But because it's a half, excuse me, if that was his niece, the coefficient would be 25%. Yeah. Being a half niece, it would be 12.5. But because of this Justice influence here, it's going to be, let's see. So we're going to have 12.5 divided by 2 is 6 1/4 plus another 3 1/8. So we're going to have 12.5% plus 3 1/8. So that's going to be 15 5/8.
Wow. I think it's amazing that full aunts and nieces, and you don't know what I'm saying, or uncle to niece or nephew or whatever, can share almost the same DNA as a half sibling. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, their coefficient of relationship, I'm doing this off the top of my head, so my decimal points might be off, but I said 15.625% is what I would calculate it to be in my head. Somebody can do this pedigree coefficient of relationship. Here, let's do a. You know what's cool? If you don't know anything about genetics, let's see if this.
Hopefully, you guys is learning. This is students of the game. You never know what you're going to get. But one thing I learned so much, bro. I ain't know nothing about like DNA percentage, so I appreciate that, Lee.
All right, let's see if I can do this on my. Y'all need to learn how to use Grok. Let's check this out. Let's see if this is going to work. I might make a liar out of myself, but Grok is pretty amazing.
I use Grok. You probably they charge for Grok now.
Yeah, I have the premium version.
Yeah.
So
I heard Grok was better than Gemini, though. I heard Grok.
Actually, I'm gonna screenshot this instead of getting a picture, which is gonna be low quality. I'm gonna screenshot this. I'm gonna put these names into Grok real quick and ask it for the coefficient of relationship between Reaper and Congo. So let me.
Why are you waiting on that, Lee? Who's the big red muscular dog on Lee's website home screen, right above where it says "Loyal Family Guardians"? Is that somebody you talked about that too? I always forget their name though. On your website, let me try to check it out. Let me see. You said right home screen, right above where it says "Loyal Family Companion Guardians."
Kick my screenshot off and show. What are you talking about? Oh, hold on. Let me go to it just a sec. On my home page?
Yeah, he said his home page.
So this right here?
Are you talking about that? I know that's Jackknife, right?
Yeah, that's Jackknife, and this is Slam.
I don't know if that's Oh no, he's talking about the one right below it.
Oh, okay.
Big dog. I think is that cheat? I forget. You said
that's Jackson. That's Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson. Who is Jackson out of?
He's off of Chief and Bandit.
Oh, that's Ball's brother?
Yeah.
Oh, smack. Damn. All
right, so
that's Record Uncle. Oh, wow. Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna open up my Grok. What did I say? It was 52. I said it was 15.625. Let's see if I'm wrong. What is the coefficient of, or RC? I'm gonna call it RC, relationship coefficient. It's properly called relationship coefficient. A lot of people call it coefficient of relationship, but it's actually called. You have coefficient of inbreeding, and then you have relationship coefficient. Relationship coefficient. Congo and Reaper. And then I'm going to drop in the photograph of the pedigree. So here's, can you see my phone? Let me get rid of this thing here. All right, make our pictures full size, so it's side by side instead of a quarter size. Get rid of the backdrop.
There you go.
All right. So I've added on my phone the question: what is the relationship coefficient between Congo and Reaper? And then I put in a picture of the pedigree. And now after I do that, I hit submit, and let's see if it's going to read it and give me the percentage. I'm guessing it's going to be about 15.625, but we'll see. And you may have to, I've never done this with Grok. I've done this on some programs where I typed them in, but this is just going to be a test of my guesstimates. Well, it kind of sucks. It gave me an answer. I want exact. It says it's between 12.5 and 25. Well, we already know that because it's less than a niece, but more than a half. More than a half niece.
Be more concise, I think.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell it to be more concise, be more accurate. Calculate it.
Okay, example. Some only break down in between.
All right. So I already knew it was more than 12 and a half because she's more than a half niece, but she's less than a niece.
One thing I also just, hopefully y'all guys and gals is learning, students of the game. One thing I get excited about now because I just learned about first cousin once removed. All my life I never knew about that. It's funny how they don't teach you stuff in school, bro. I never even knew that until recently, bro.
It's still wanting to estimate it. Let me confirm to the decimal. It's still wanting to estimate. It's not wanting to confirm. I wonder if it's because I didn't give it enough generations.
Possibly, yeah.
But we're going to see.
And despite all the pedigree talk, Lee is always going to tell you still got a performance to test your dogs and to find out, you know.
Huh. Yeah, it's not being accurate here because it keeps going higher and higher. So the first time it said between 12 and a half and 25. Then it said 20. Now it's saying 22 to 25. So it's going the wrong way. I don't know why it's doing that. All right, let me throw this in here. I'm going to say I calculate. You know what? It may be adjusting for that aggregate. I do not want the AGR. Do not want. Well, no, this is our. Let's try it. Let me try ROC instead of RC. The exact ROC. I may be lying about Grok. I may have to use this other program. I'll show you another program for our users. I'm going to give you another program that'll give it to you exactly. And I'll show you how to use it, and it's free. The other one y'all can do online. But then after that, I need to wrap this up. So
let's go wrap it up. It's almost
It's saying it's between 20 and 25%, most likely 22. So it's not giving me an exact number, but I'll show you how you can get it exact. So let me get a screen share again. And we're going to go to, whoops. New tab. All right, can you add that?
Yes, sir.
Right, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to type in, let's type in coefficient. Oh, efficient of inbreeding calculator. All right, now we're actually going to we're going to look at relationship coefficient if I can. This is actually going to be coefficient of inbreeding. Dang it. This is the one I think that I normally use. Yeah, this is it. But let's see if it'll show me the coefficient. Yeah, it will show me. So we're going to, how many generations do I need here? Let's go ahead and, we got Congo to Lucky 7. I got to go back to Preacher Man. That sucks. So Congo to Vicious, to Vicious's mother Onyx, to Widow, to Wrecker, to Preacher Man. That sucks. I have to. No way. I skipped Justice. Hold on. I skipped. So, man, it's gonna be a lot of generations. This is gonna suck. I'm not gonna go this many generations.
You might gotta do. Once I get the information, I'll be able to once I understand the coefficient things, then I do a thing because like I said,
Congo X Reaper. All right, so we're gonna go to that, and then up here I'm gonna type in Congo, and you have to spell it right, and you have to keep the capitalization the same. If you don't, it's gonna mess it up. Then we have Vicious. How do you spell it as Vicious? Did I spell it right? No, I did not. Vicious. Now I got to go back and fix that V. Now the cool thing about this is it's going to get a little easier in a minute. Then we're going to have Lucky 7, and I'm not going to go past him because he's an outcross. Since he's an outcross, he's not anywhere in the pedigree. I'm not worried about putting any of his ancestors in, okay? Because they're not going to matter. So now we're going to come down here, and Vicious's mother is Onyx. Is that right? Yeah. And then her father is Justice, and his sire is Preacher Man. I'm just going to put PM, and then his sire is Captain Skip. Then his mother is Eclipse, and then his mother is BJ, Blue Jean, and then we're going to have that's going to be Achilles, and then his mother is Lynn. All right, and then we got Levi. And then we got Tara. Yeah. Tara. All right. Then we're going to come down here and we've got to throw in Onyx's mother is Widow and her sire is Wrecker. And oops.
Onyx dad is Justice and her mom is Widow, right?
Did I put it wrong?
You just said something different. Or maybe you said that and then you just
said Onyx's sire is Justice. Onyx's mother is Widow.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. And then Wrecker's sire is Boss.
And none of it.
And then we have Chief. And I should go back another generation. I put 7. I should have put 8 because Captain Skip is Chief's sire. So my numbers are going to be a little off. And then Boss's mother is none of it. No, Boss's mother is Bandit.
Yo, we all gonna be pedigree nerds.
Wrecker's mother is none of it. And I need that 8th generation here also because none of its sire is Preacher Man. And because of the Captain Skip influence, I don't have that again. And then his mother is Gator. Now, I should have put in 8 generations because Gator, Preacher Man, and Bandit are all full siblings, but this program's not going to know that because I didn't have that next generation. So I messed up there. I should have put in 8 generations. So the numbers might be a little bit off. Now, that said, Widow's mother is Tiggy. Tiggy's father is Preacher Man. And then we have Captain Skip. And then we have Eclipse. Then we have Tiggy's mother is Blue Jean. Blue Jean is out of Achilles. And Lynn. Then we're going to go. I mean, you got to do this for all of these gens, right? So this kind of sucks.
We got
Halo. Then you can hit tab to jump up. Halo is Little Rascal. Now I'm going to save a bunch of time here because Little Rascal is an outcross, so I don't have to fill in any of this because all these dogs are not going to be anywhere in the pedigree, So actually, I take that back. I'm going to put a 1 here, and I'm going to put a 2 here.
Yeah.
I'll show you why. I'm going to show you why later because they're double bred on these dogs are double bred on Halo. So I'm going to go just 1 generation. Now Halo, her mother is Valkyrie. Valkyrie.
Yeah, okay.
and then Valkyrie's sire is Preacher Man, and then we have Captain Skip, and then we have Eclipse. Then we have Blue Jean, and then we have Achilles, and then we have Lynn. All right. Then we're going to come down here. We're going to have Reaper. And then Reaper's sire is Ranger. Ranger's sire is Frankie Bump. He's an out. He's not anywhere else in the pedigree, so we're not going to worry about doing him anymore. Ranger's mother is Valkyrie. So we can see we got a lot of Valkyrie coming in this dog. Preacher Man and Captain Skip and Eclipse. Valkyrie's mother is BJ and Achilles and Lynn.
So
all right, we're almost done. Reaper's mother is Elsa. We have Justice, Preacher Man, Captain Skip, and Eclipse. And we have BJ, and then we have Achilles and Lynn. And then we have Elsa's mother is Halo. Then we have Little Rascal, and I have 1, and I think I said 2. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what I did up here, 1 and 2? Yeah, 1 and 2. All right. So then we have Halo's mother is Valkyrie, and then we have Preacher Man, Captain Skip.
So you would use this website over the other one, because the other one seemed like that was legit.
Yeah, but it didn't give me coefficient of relationship. Remember, I told you I would like for it to give me coefficient of inbreeding and coefficient of relationship, but it gave me percent blood and it gave me AGR instead. So now we're going to put in BJ. Is that right? Valkyrie's Alpha Blue. Yes. And then we have Achilles, and then we have Lynn. Whoops. And Lynn is Levi and Tara.
I'll start talking about this on the Better Greek right there. People going to probably think I went to college.
All right, let's look at Lynn here. I need to put him in here, Levi and Tara.
The COI, bro. That's going to listen. I got to start talking about the COI.
And we got Levi and Tara. And is that the only other place for Lynn? Oh, I got it here. Levi and Tara.
Yo, CPK, make sure you hit me up, bro, so we can have a people.
All right, so now that I'm done, I got it entered. The places that are blank are outcrosses, okay? And I should have had one more generation for the commonalities behind Captain Skip, or for behind, because Preacher Man is in this last generation up here, and his siblings. So I should have had one more generation because Chief is off of Captain Skip, and then Bandit's off of Captain Skip, Preacher Man's off of Captain Skip, and Gator's off of Captain Skip. And you want to go back to, and then when you do this database, you don't have to enter every space, but you do want to enter every space that shows the same dog. So if the dog is further in the pedigree, you want to go back to that dog. Once you've entered that dog, now you're good. So we're going to be slightly off, and I'm going to hit continue. Do not have to hit clear. If you hit clear, you got to start over.
Wow.
We're going to hit continue. So we show that the inbreeding contribution by ancestor, it shows Halo is, this coefficient of inbreeding on Halo is 6.25. So the total coefficient of inbreeding is 14, basically 15%. The AVK, the ancestor, don't worry about that. That's crap. Don't worry about AVK. I know a lot of people love AVK. That number is useless. In my opinion, it's useless. Then we have, it's called the ancestral loss coefficient, which is kind of stupid. It should be called the ancestral kept coefficient, but it's whatever. I have a video about that. If you want to see that video, I'll show you where to find it, why AVK is a joke. It's not something I'm just making up. I have a reason for that. It's not actually, the AVK is not a number that is validated by any reputable geneticist. Every reputable geneticist that I've ever spoke to says that number's a joke. We're going to come down here and look at percentage of blood by ancestor. What dog did we want to look at? Let's see. Do I have coefficient of relationship between them two? I guess I don't. I just have relationship to their ancestors. Dang it. I thought we were going to have ancestors of relationship of the parents. Coefficient of, it doesn't show coefficient of relationship of parents. That sucks. All right. Well, you'd have to find one that does coefficient of relationship for parents. The other thing that sucks about this website is, let's say you wanted to go back and add. Well, if you go back one generation or one screen, it won't let you adjust the pedigree. So you can't go back and enter a dog. You see how it says?
Yeah, we'll stick to the
Yeah.
We'll stick to we'll stick to the Lee. I appreciate you. Anything you want to say before we get out of here? I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Yeah, talk about nerves, microchip, and I don't like the microchip. I'm not buying a dog from you if you microchip. I'm sorry, I just don't want my dog with microchips.
Yeah, let me show you one other thing. I'm going to share screen again. My apologies. This is the last thing I want to show, and then I'm going to call it a night.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a plug on my channel. Hey, Jalik, well, I'll ask you. I'll talk to you when we get done.
Yeah.
So am I here? I'm going to go to my YouTube. And if you go to my YouTube, boom. You go to this tab right here, this little circle.
Yeah.
Click on that and type in AVK.
You recently done one. Yeah, you recently done one. I remember that. It was recent. Yeah.
Watch the video and I'll show you why no geneticist uses AVK.
Okay.
If you want to learn about it.
Yeah.
That's just some crap that people trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold up mathematically. It's flawed.
Okay. Well, yeah, once again, man, I appreciate you joining in, and you always make it easier for me, you know, so I won't be up here talking to myself all night.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it. It's good for me too. We got to get the information out.
I'm learning though, like you the teacher, I'm the student. Like maybe one day you think how long you think we'll be able to debate like genetics? How long you think it'll take me to catch up to you so we can have like a real debate? What you think?
You'll never catch up to me, buddy.
But it's a debate, though. I can present it. I'm
picking it. I'm picking it. Hey, I lied. I said I was going to be done. I want to show one other thing. I lied. I didn't mean to lie. I just thought of something else that I think is kind of important.
I appreciate you, Langston. Yeah, me and Lee. I want to debate Lee on the genetics, like. Because once I learned about the 25%, which I learned from Lee, and then that I was like, okay, I can really sound like I'm really know what I'm talking about.
Can you see me? Am I moving on your screen? Because you're frozen on mine.
Yeah, it turned black on mine, but I can still see you though. It turned black. It does that when it's a certain amount of time.
All right. Share my screen.
Okay.
All right. So we're on my Facebook page. I'm going to scroll down to this picture right here. Look, y'all, genetics is important, but if you want a shortcut, read this 5 times. This guy asked me for a book hey, Lee, what book would you recommend on genetics? You're going to get 90% of your success by learning this. Select for health first, performance second. If you do that, you're going to get rid of kennel blindness. Then after you get rid of your kennel blindness, then you can select what you like. Okay? But get rid of kennel blindness first, by health and performance first, then what you like. Look for good dogs that come from lines known to carry those traits. Now, that doesn't mean those lines are perfect. Nothing. Bert Sorrells bred, in my opinion, Bert Sorrells was one of the best American Pit Bull Terrier breeders in the last 50 years. And of all the breedings he did, he only had one breeding that never produced a cur. Anybody that tells you everything's great, all my dogs are phenomenal, I got what you need. If they tell you they got what you need before you told them what you're looking for, they're a liar.
Yeah, no.
How are they going to tell you they got what you need when they don't even know what you're looking for? Okay, so salesmen are a dime a dozen. You're not going to find very many people. I'm going to pat myself on the back here. You're not going to find very many people that'll tell you the good and the bad. Everybody wants to tell you the good, but they never want to tell you the bad. It's car salesman. He doesn't tell you the transmission slipping. You got to find that out for yourself, and that just sucks. Because of that, only deal with people you trust, and then don't worry about the rest. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not true. There's something else that you need to do to be successful. Stay within your means. Don't get too many dogs, because then you can't. Hey, I had too many dogs the last 5 years when I was dealing with my mom and my siblings. I hate to say it, but I got siblings that have drug and alcohol problems, and I've had to deal with that because of my brothers and sisters. And it took me a lot of time to deal with that away from my dogs. I'm telling them now, look, you're an adult. You're older than me. I can't raise adults.
Right.
Okay. I can't raise adults. I got to get back to my life and my family. So don't get more dogs than you have time for. Don't get more dogs than you have space for. When I bought this place, I knew I needed country. I can't breed 30 dogs if I live in an apartment. There are people that have gotten in trouble with the animal control because they have 10 dogs in cages in their garage. That's just stupid. Okay? Just stupid. Don't get 10 dogs and keep them in crates in your garage. And then also, don't buy dogs that you can't afford. And you might think, well, Lee, why would you tell somebody that? You're trying to sell your dogs. I am trying to sell my dogs. But if you cannot pay for a dog twice, you don't need to buy it. Because vet bills happen. Your transmission goes out on your car. You got to be able to pay for it.
Thanks.
If you can't pay for your transmission on your car, or a dog breaks a leg and you can't pay for the vet bill, then save your money. Wait until you have a nest egg, an emergency fund, before you buy a dog.
Right.
And you might think, well, Lee, you're telling somebody not to buy my dog. I'm not saying don't buy my dog. I'm saying wait until you can afford it.
Right.
If you do these things and you do them in order, you're going to be ahead of the game, because when you try to move too soon, there's a famous line from the movie Twins where Arnold Schwarzenegger says, you move too soon. And he calls people on their bluff because they weren't prepared. You need to be prepared before you move.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I'm ready. Give me 6 months, Lee. We can have a friendly debate, talk about pedigrees. Give me 6 months.
Sounds good.
Give me 6 months. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, and when we get off, holler at me real quick on the phone. I got a question I want to ask you. I don't want to ask you on here with everybody.
No problem. I'll call you. Okay.
All right, bye.
All right. Once again, y'all, this is another episode of Students of the Game. I appreciate y'all for joining in. We went longer than expected, but hey, that's how it is. We learning, because to be honest with you, none of us probably watch TV like that. So YouTubers such as myself is probably a source of entertainment. I try to make it fun and learn at the same time. That's why you be a student. So yeah, there you have it. Once again, to my man Adam, and I learned about that. So, shout out to my man CPK ABT. I didn't even know. I'm gonna start using the AGR because I want to make it sound like I really know. So I'm gonna be. If you hear me talking about the AGR, don't listen. I'm going to be talking about that AGR or my pedigree breakdown. But I appreciate y'all, man. Have a good night. Peace.